NFL Draft on
30
Sports
seconds,
Radio
fellas.
810 WHB. We'll bring you ESPN's coverage of all the selections live from Las Vegas, and Sports Radio 810 will break in with continuing reports with the Chiefs at Arrowhead to bring you live reactions on any trades or breaking news. You'll hear from all the newest Chiefs plus the folks who selected them. It's all on your home for the National Football League Draft. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Brought to you by Twin Peaks, DePasquale Moore, Shamrock Roofing and Construction, Amini's, and BlueChew.com.
Kansas City's hometown sports station. Sports Radio 810 WHB Kansas City.
America's largest all-sports radio station presents the #1 motorsports show for 2 decades, Track Talk, brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. Here are the Racing Boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sports Radio 810 WHB's Track Talk. I'm Scott Traylor, my partner here, Kirk Elliott. We're the Racing Boys. Thanks for joining us on the show today. 2 hours worth of racing fodder for the fans that are out there listening right now. So if you're tuning in to listen to draft coverage, you might not get that. Your boy got drafted from Iowa State, didn't he? Went to the Jets.
Breece Hall. I think he was the 4th or 5th pick in the second round. The first running back to go, I think.
Right.
Wasn't he? Was he not?
I think he might have been. I wish the Chiefs could have gobbled him up.
Yeah, I'd rather see Breece play for somebody other than the Jets, but that's the way it is.
Life in hell, as they know it. Going to the Jets.
But the Chiefs have done pretty good, have they not?
Oh, I think so, yeah.
We'll see.
I mean, I don't understand the linebacker they drafted last night, but that's okay.
Well, I think he might be pretty good.
You know what? As long as you got good players, that's all that matters.
Wisconsin had a good defense last year, so
Yeah.
I think he's a good linebacker.
Yeah. Well,
We'll see.
I'm hoping for the best for our team.
Yeah.
You know, we're Kansas City people here, if you don't know. Racing Boys is in Kansas City, Missouri.
Go Chiefs.
For the people that are out there listening around the country.
We still don't like the end of that Cincinnati game, though, but, you know, that's the way it goes.
It's just
Maybe next year.
It's just the way it is, man. you win some, you lose some.
For all you Bengals fans, it was a good day, but not necessarily.
It
here in
wasn't a
Kansas
good
City.
day, Kirk. Why would you even say that? It was a bad day.
I said for Bengals fans. For all you Bengals fans, it was a great
It wasn't
day.
a good day for us. Just so you know. It was a bad day.
That's the way it goes.
That's the way it is.
It was
That's
such
the way
a
it
miracle.
goes.
The way they beat the Bills, though, that was a miracle.
Uh-huh.
So you got that to live on.
Well, listen, I think the Chiefs would have beat the Bills.
Yes. They did beat the Bills.
I mean, who did they play after?
Rams.
The Bengals.
The Bengals.
Bengals and the Rams.
And the Rams. The Bengals played the Rams. The Rams
It's
won.
so long ago, I don't even remember.
So what do you think about
It's I've locked that out of my mind, so far out of my mind after all that.
The only reason
I
we're
don't
bringing it
even-
up now is the draft. That's the only reason we're talking about it.
I'm going to say that only because I'm old and I can't remember things.
Yeah.
So have you been watching the draft? So they had it in downtown Las Vegas.
Right.
So
It's gonna be here in Kansas City next year, isn't it?
It's going to be.
Yeah,
I told
be
you
here.
wrong last year that last week it was going to be in a power light. It's going to be at the
Sprint Center?
No, Union Station.
Oh, it is.
Wow.
Think about how cool that's going to be.
Oh, that'd be a nice.
That's going to be a
Yeah.
So
big
I
deal.
don't know if you remember they had
Absolutely.
that extreme sport. I remember that outdoor extreme sport thing.
Uh-huh.
They had that down there. That's where they had all that too. So all that's gonna be lit up. So boy, that's gonna be fun next year, man. Watching.
Yeah, yeah.
Might have to go down there for the
Oh, we'll probably have to go down and do a little bit
for
something down there.
for one of the I don't know if I can
Yeah.
do the Thursday night. That's when the
Right.
rowdies are there.
Can you imagine the crowd that's going to be down there for that?
That'd be big.
I mean,
gonna
this
be
town
nuts.
is rabid
All right,
for
let's talk
NFL.
racing.
Yeah, let's talk
I'm
racing.
done talking about football.
Logan
Not
Stewart
putting
had
me
a
to
great
sleep.
night out.
Hold on. No, that's not the biggest story of the night. The biggest story of the night is Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson blowing a gasket last night with the World of Outlaws. Did you guys see it?
Yeah.
Watched it live.
My gosh. Now, hold on. Let's take a consensus here of everybody. Did Kyle Larson have a real complaint? He's the only driver double dipping, driving a sprint car and a late model. And he was a little late getting up there in his late model, and they forced him to start dead last. Is that right or is that wrong?
No, you're right.
You think it was a good call?
Oh, good call? No, not a good call at all.
Bad call.
It was a good call in the only fact that if they wanted to watch a single file race, they should have left him in his spot. If they wanted to watch a show like we got to see, send him to the tail.
It saved the show last night, so I loved it. I loved the fact that Kyle Larson had to start at the back of the field because it saved the show. Because he put on the show.
He did put on the show until the last lap, and he sailed it into turn 1 a little bit too hard, didn't he?
Yeah, I think the right rear was already down. When he came by the Dirt Vision camera, after he came down the front stretch, the right rear was already down and off the rim.
Yeah.
So I think either, after he hit the wall, it came off, or it was just the reason why he hit the wall. But I mean, he went down trying.
He was not too happy after that race, and we have a video to prove that. And why don't we play that right now? Okay, let's play this. This is an interview.
I hope you bleeped out the.
It's all right, Kirk.
It's already done.
Okay,
all right,
about a minute long.
This is Kyle Larson after getting out of his late model. He just wrecked on the last lap. He was running second. He was going for the lead, and this is after he started dead last. And this is how Kyle Larson handled it after the race. Go ahead, Austin.
Not a fender guy by any means, and I don't know if half the people in this pit area are, or the people in the stands, but my goodness, that was a show right there. I know you probably weren't happy with the beginning of the race, having get sent to the tail of the field, but that looked like a lot of fun for you.
Yeah, it would have been a lot easier if I didn't have to come from the tail. I'm the only guy doing double duty here, so there's a lot of shit I got to get done to get my stuff ready, and it's no wonder that you got teams like Mark Richards and them pulling off the tour. So I'm glad the Outlaws made a good decision there, and I can put on a show for you fans. Thank you, crowd, for coming out. Hopefully we can put on another show that's 57.
All right, there you have it. That's Kyle Larson right after the late model race at Bristol last night. And he's talking about Brandon Sheppard leaving, his team leaving and going and run with the Lucas Oil.
Richards. And Sheppard, too. I guess Sheppard's leaving,
Sheppard
too,
drives for him.
Yeah,
Brandon Sheppard drives for him.
That's right.
Kurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So anyway, that's why he's talking about Brandon Sheppard going and run with the Lucas Oil late model series and why they're leaving the World of Outlaws. So, I don't know. They probably, with Kyle Larson being the star that he is, I think it's important that they have an official down there. If he's doing double duty, somebody to stand down there and make sure that they communicate with Kyle Larson and let him know that the horn is just sounded, right? I think that's their biggest issue.
Yeah.
They couldn't hear the horn.
Yeah, and the horn's the biggest thing right now. Because, I mean, that's it tells you what to do.
Yeah, but wasn't that car parked with all the other late models, or was it parked in a different location than the rest of the late models?
He was with the sprint cars.
That car was parked next to the sprint cars.
Yes.
So they were all together as a team.
So that's why they couldn't hear the horn. And apparently, according to an interview that we saw with Kevin Rumley, he said that they told him.
Kirk, don't run that interview. We're going to play that interview.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he gives his side of the story.
All right.
You want to play it?
Let's play the Kevin Rumley interview. This is the car owner for Kyle Larson right after the races. He kind of breaks it down and explains exactly what happened before the race.
Kevin Rumley, following tonight's action at Bristol Motor Speedway. Kevin, your thoughts on being sent to the back, or kind of a timeline of what happened from your side of things?
Well, we're over here on the sprint car side because Kyle's doing double duty. You can hear the horns. We're away from all the other late model guys. They were supposed to take care of us all night. On top of everything, we had a transmission go out in the heat race where we needed a push start. So I texted them and said we needed a push start. The first horn we heard, it was 1:30 left in the 10-minute call. We were ready. The guy blowing the horn said, just get the car out here. I'll push it over the stage lane, and then we'll get you a push start. Casey Schumann came down here and said, you got 60 seconds. Just get it out here in the middle. We'll get a push truck, and everything will be okay. So we get the push truck here. The push truck driver was confused and was going to push him out on the racetrack. We stopped him and had him to go over here, and then Casey said we were late. So from my point of view, we were misled and deceived by Casey Schumann, and not happy about it. I'm glad there's other series that are gaining momentum now, so competitors have options to run other places when the management doesn't hold up their end of the bargain.
How frustrating is that when your driver's willing to pull double duty on a night like this?
Yeah, well, I mean, people are here to see Kyle Larson. So they want him to continue to show up. The officials need to be more reasonable in a situation like this and not unreasonable.
What's the status for tomorrow? I take it since you're still here, you're working to fix this car and not get the new one?
We're going to race tonight, and then we're going to reevaluate who we race with in the future.
Bang, right there. Going to reevaluate who we're going to race with in the future. It sounds like they might go to Lucas Oil Late Model Series. What it sounds like to me.
Couple things on his comment. I don't think it really matters to the whole incident that Kyle Larson brings the crowd to the racetrack. To this part of the discussion, I don't think any of that matters. What does matter, and he brings up a good point, they were pitted over where the sprint cars were, which makes it different as far as hearing the horn. They were told to back the car out. They had the transmission issue. Get it out there, we'll push it out. Now, it sounds like that, and we haven't talked with Casey Schumann about this, but it sounds like that there was a miscommunication between the World of Outlaw officials, between Casey Schumann and whoever was working to get the cars out in line. And Casey coming in, I think you got to work with them to get the car out. And I don't think it was that late. The car was out there ready to be pushed off. Come on. That's you got to work with them, especially since that car was over on the other side with the sprint car.
So I'm going to totally disagree with you, Kurt, because that's what I do. It does matter about Kyle Larson being there, because those are what the people came to see. The people came to see Kyle Larson race. And when you're the number one draw for a racetrack, you've got to make sure that you have good communication with that team. He's the only driver running in both classes.
Let me
finish, Kirk.
That is important.
Kirk, you've had your chance to talk. Just hold on, all right? You've already said your bit.
Well, you said that is important.
You said your bit. But I'm just telling you right now that they needed to have a designated person over there, an official, to make sure there was good communication between the Larson camp and the racetrack is what they needed. They just needed a body over there, somebody to kind of fill them in on what's taking place. What do you think, Austin? How do you feel about it?
I think you're exactly right. When you run two classes, you double your workload and you're busy. So
or you have a team member to pay attention to
that. Right. But also too, like they said, they have a transmission issue, so now they're trying to rush to get that fixed. There's no time to work on it. They're scrambling to get the car ready for the feature. And then there's just, like you said, no communication with the World of Outlaw officials. And, who is the one driver that you see in event posters? Kyle Larson. They market and use him to bring fans to their races. And if you don't have him at your races...
He's a marketing tool.
He is. And you're not going to... Did you hear the fans after his interview?
Giant roar.
Blew up. Right. And they support Kyle. They want to see Kyle there.
That's right.
Thank God
the majority of the fans are there to see Kyle.
Yeah. Right. So you guys have pretty much said all of that. I agree with, but you got to take care of your drivers, and even if it was somebody else, you just royally screwed their night.
Right.
He shouldn't be treated any differently than any other driver, regardless if he brings in most of the fans or not. That is not important to this whole discussion. What is important is he was the only driver competing in two classes, and that car was parked not with the other late models, but with the sprint cars. That is important. The fact that he is a big draw to the racetrack does not matter at all. He should be treated like every other driver.
I totally disagree with you. It's just like when they bring in megastars to draw people to the racetrack. It's just like back in 1992 when they had all those Cup drivers. When all those Cup drivers came to Lakeside Speedway, it was one of the biggest crowds in the history of that racetrack. It's no different. Bringing Kyle Larson in is a draw. They use it as a draw, and somebody needed to communicate better with him, I think.
But also
I think that's what it boils down to, the communication problem.
I'm with you on that. The communication was not good here, and I agree with you on that. But the fact that bringing up the fact that he's the big draw and you got to take care of him, that's not important here.
It is important.
No.
It is.
So if he's that important, why can't he have his own guy? He
could have his own guy.
So why can't he have somebody standing there saying, hey, you know what? I paid this guy to tell me when the next race is going. If he's that big a deal and it's that big a thing, then
I already said that. I said a second ago that maybe he should have his own guy that's bird dog and everything. right?
Well, also too, Kirk says that he shouldn't be treated differently. He's the only driver doing double duty, and if it was Brandon Shepard, Donnie Schatz, I don't care who it is.
If it was Donnie Schatz, they would have catered to him.
I agree with you on that point. That the fact that he was the only driver running in 2 classes, that does matter to this whole thing. But the fact that he's the big crowd draw and selling the most tickets, he should be treated differently than any other driver. I disagree with that.
Kirk, we're not saying he should be treated differently. We're saying that he's running in 2 different classes.
Right.
He's the only driver to run in 2 classes.
That's a fair point.
And so they need to have extra communication with him.
I agree with that. And the communication clearly broke down in this instance. And he got the draw, by the way, to start on the outside of the front row, and he earned that position.
Right.
But as a fan, I love the fact that he had to start at the back of the field because that was a pretty thrilling show that he put on that we would not have had otherwise. I think he might have just run off and hid and won that thing pretty easily had he started on the outside of the front row. Likely would have run away with it, don't you think?
Well, if he started up the front, he was the fastest car, easily. He was ripping the top, man. Unbelievable. And that last time on the white flag lap when he went in there and sailed it into turn 1, he might have had a flat, Austin. I'm not sure. I'm not sure you're right on that one.
I'll prove you wrong real quick.
You're going to prove me wrong? You got some video of it?
You saw the tire down.
Yeah, hold on.
So anyway, I'm just saying he pounded that wall. Listen, the speeds that they were traveling up and down that racetrack were phenomenal.
Oh, man.
My gosh. What were their average speed for the sprint cars was 138 miles an hour, right?
Wow. And I think the top speed was like 147 mile an hour at the end of the straightaway.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just unbelievable.
That's typically what it is, 10 or 15 miles an hour faster down the straightaway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, what a show he put on last night. No question about that. I mean, without that, we would have come away thinking, well, that wasn't all that great of a show. But after what he produced last night, going to the high side. Of course, that was really the dominant way around that racetrack last night, but he made it work better than anybody else, that's for sure.
Right. So
here's your video.
All right. Let me see it. Hey, we're on radio right now. You know that. Oh, it does look a little flat there, doesn't it?
Yeah, look at the wheel covers dragging the track.
Well, yeah, but that's after he hit the wall.
Yeah, they don't show
Are you
it.
sure he didn't, the tire go down as a result of hitting the wall?
A lot of sheet metal flopping around back there on that right rear quarter after he hit.
Hold on. Pay attention to when the car sits over on the right rear. Right here, you see the left front.
Oh, it just kind of...
I think you're right about that.
Yeah,
the way that car slipped sideways, I think that car did go down before
Yeah,
that
if you
happened.
watch it closely, you'll see the left front come off the ground.
And it kind of skips to the
Right
right
there.
real hard, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think that tire went down before he hit the wall.
Yeah. For people that don't know, we are live on Facebook, we're live on Twitter, we're live on YouTube, and we're live on RacingBoys.com. Live in studio cameras here on Track Talk. It's all brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. It works. So
the biggest issue I had was what Ryan Gustin said after his heat race, the third heat race where he finished. And a lot of times they don't interview all of the winners. They interview some of the guys that are back in the field a little bit. But Ryan Gustin was asked, okay, is there any difference here on the trails? We're just trying to survive the night here. Nobody wants to be here, and the racing sucks. Just want to get to next week. And I got a problem with that. First of all, Ryan, you don't have to be anywhere, and don't speak for other drivers. Only speak for yourself. That's all I'm saying.
Kurt, to be honest with you, I think he's just echoing the words of most of the drivers that are there. They don't want to be there. The speeds are too fast. We talked about it yesterday on the show on Mostly Motorsports, where a lot of teams have to build a brand new car because they don't want to go there with a used car that's got a lot of laps on it, so they don't have to worry about part failure. I would imagine that most of those cars that are running with the late models are pretty new too. Wouldn't you think, Austin?
I would think so.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you don't see speeds like that anywhere else you go, and the G-forces and the downforce loads on the car are just greater than any track you go to, and you can't take a chance when you're running that fast.
Right. So I think he's just echoing the thoughts of everybody else, Kirk, and he's allowed to say that.
Sure. I don't have any problem saying it, but only speak for yourself. That's all I'm saying.
He could speak for a group of people.
Don't be a spokesman for everybody else. Just speak for yourself.
Well, nobody else was saying it, so it's about time somebody would say it.
Somebody needed to say it, Kirk.
His opinion. My opinion is, if you don't like it, you don't have to be there. Go race somewhere else.
Hey, listen, if you're running for the World of Outlaw points, you got to be there.
Well, but still, nobody.
No, Kirk. If you're running, listen to me.
You don't have
Look
to be
at me when I say this. When you're running for the World of Outlaw points, you had to be there.
You miss one race, you're out of the point fund.
You miss one race, you're out of the point race. You're done. You miss one race.
That's you. He made that. They made that choice to do that, though. They made that choice to run that schedule. They made that call.
Kirk, you were acting like a senile old man this morning. Grumpy old man.
I don't want to hear from a driver saying that nobody wants to be here and it's too fast and the racing sucks.
Does anybody have a problem?
I don't want to hear it.
Does anybody have a problem with one driver speaking for everybody else? Yes or no?
Yeah, I have a problem with that.
Well, I think you're going to be the only one.
Speak for yourself.
I think you're the only one that's going to
I think there's only one driver out there that wants to be at that track, whoever won.
The winner.
Yep, Jonathan Davenport and Logan Schuchart are the two happiest people in the pits right now.
Those two guys are very happy this morning.
yeah, no doubt about it. All right, well, listen, we better take a break. When we come back, we did an interview this week with Alex Bowman, NASCAR Cup Series driver, and he drives the sprint car as well, and it was a pretty good interview, so we're going to replay some of that for you when we come back here on Track Talk on Sports Radio 810 WHB. It's all brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. It works.
Track Talk. As your power steering pump ages, seal leaks may occur, causing the power steering system to lose fluid. Your power steering system may also develop an annoying squeal, and the steering may become more difficult to handle. By using Lucas Power Steering Stop Leak, you will stop the seal leaks, reduce slack in rack and pinion, eliminate the squeals and hard spots in your power steering system. It is guaranteed to stop seal leaks or your money back. Lucas Power Steering Stop Leak. It works.
Are you losing your hair and feel like you don't know what to do? We are here to help you. Hi, I'm Dr. Spencer Egan with Essentis Hair Restoration. We can help you get your hair back using state-of-the-art robotic hair transplant technology. At Essentis Hair Restoration, we care about maintaining the hair you have and replacing the hair you've lost. Book your free consultation for a personalized plan and feel like you again. Call 913-914-5975 or visit kansascityhairtransplant.com.
Foley Rental is your local equipment rental store for commercial, industrial, farm, and residential project needs with a large fleet of aerial lifts, generators, trench shoring, air conditioners, and concrete equipment. And Foley Rental offers a wide selection of machine attachments for skid steers, excavators, and loaders, all supported by over 400 certified technicians. Foley Rental, committed to you from the ground up. Call 855-RENT-FOLEY or visit FoleyRental.com.
Running a business comes with pressure. Remote workforces, HR compliance, retaining top talent. You start to feel boxed in. Fortunately, there's Insperity. They put 30 plus years of HR service and technology to work, offering my employees competitive benefit options while lightening my HR load. Instead of obstacles, I'm surrounded by people empowered to be their best. With Insperity, nothing seems impossible. Insperity, HR that makes a difference.
Ah, spring. The sounds of birds in the trees, the smell of fresh cut grass, and new decks being built. And new deck builders from all over town heading for Kansas City Deck Supply. Experts say that when you add a deck to your home, you'll recoup a higher percentage of your investment at sale time than any other improvement you can make. More than a kitchen, even more than a bathroom. So do-it-yourselfers and professionals alike head for Kansas City Deck Supply, where you'll find everything you need to build a better deck and add value to a home. They come for the near-zero maintenance and stain-resistant materials from TimberTech. TimberTech decking is outdoor living without limits, a quality and appearance you demand at a price you can afford. Now, if you're a do-it-yourselfer that's a little out of practice, they'll put you in touch with a licensed professional to get the job done right. But no matter who builds it, come choose the look you want from their showrooms in Overland Park, North Kansas City, or their brand new location in Lee Summit. Come check out Kansas City Deck Supply in the Pine Tree Plaza Shopping Center at 324 Southwest Blue Parkway. Kansas City Deck Supply, where you'll find everything you need to build a better deck. Whether you're looking for
30
energy
seconds,
savings or updating your home office or man cave, One Stop Decorating is the place for beautiful, energy-efficient window coverings. One Stop Decorating offers free in-home or virtual consultations, or you can come into one of their 3 beautiful showrooms to see all the window coverings in their Hunter Douglas galleries. Ask about smart shades that can be controlled by Google, Alexa, and HomeKit. 913-270-0408. 913-270-0408 or onestopdecorating.com. Your home, your windows, your style.
Welcome back to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Don't forget, hour number 2 exclusively on our Facebook page, Twitter, YouTube, racingboys.com. We continue on after we leave Sports Radio 810 after hour 1, so if you'd like to join us, we've got people from all around the country that listen to our show. We are so happy that, man, we've got just a large amount of people that listen out on the East Coast and New York and Pennsylvania, and we want to thank each and every one of those people that tune in every day for our Mostly Motorsports show. I don't know if you've heard about it, but Mostly Motorsports is a new show that we do Monday through Friday. It's at 12 noon Central Time, and you can watch it right here on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and racingboys.com. It's a daily show. Austin O'Neill and myself do it, and we just talk a little bit about everything. We've had a lot of great guests on, and this week we had a really good guest on, Kirk.
Yeah, we did. And by the way, we're 2 weeks away from the NASCAR Cup Series coming to Kansas Speedway. We'll be out there for all of that coverage out there 2 weeks from this weekend. But a year ago, Alex Bowman won at where they're at this weekend, the Monster Mile, Dover, Delaware. And Scott spoke with Alex Bowman from Hendrick Motorsports about the weekend coming up and his 2022 season. And here's a portion of that interview on Mostly Motorsports here just a couple of days ago.
Alex, how you doing?
Good, thanks. Thank you for having me.
Hey, man, we appreciate you taking the time to do it. Let's talk about your race last weekend. Boy, that was a crazy one, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was definitely an exciting day. I think Talladega always produces that, and would have liked to end up a little bit better, but we still got stage points in both stages and ended up with a solid top 10. So, just finishing a race at Talladega has been rough for us lately. So to be able to get a good solid finish and kind of move on and keep digging was pretty good.
Did you have a little body damage to your car, if I remember right?
Just at the very end, like coming through the tri-oval on the last lap. Other than that, our car was totally fine. Just had some issues off of pit road. They're kind of on that last green flag pit stop that buried us in track position that we had to overcome. And thankfully, we had a fast Ally Camaro to be able to get back towards the front.
It seemed like to me, we were just talking to Steve Post. He was on the show with us yesterday. It seems like there's a lot of parity right now in Cup Series. Do you believe that that's the case?
Yes and no. I think Hendrick Motorsports has done a really good job of being prepared for this next-gen car. And obviously we've won quite a few races so far, right, and that's been really good. So, excited to be on what I feel like is the best team right now. And, definitely some other guys have won races as well. But I think, we've done a really good job with this car.
Yeah. What is the biggest challenge of racing on what we used to call a plate track, Talladega, Daytona, I guess now Atlanta, right? They call that a super speedway. What is the biggest challenges of running on those racetracks?
Talladega, the biggest challenge this week was track position, and I think, it's really changed this year. There used to be like a lot of comers and goers, and you could get from the front to the back to the front really quickly, and a lot of shuffling around. And now it's like the bottom line is so strong, you can't really do anything. You kind of just sit in line and hope somebody gets up out of line, or all of a sudden the bottom lane stacks and you can make the top roll for a couple laps before you get back down. So track position was our biggest challenge, and obviously started pretty far back and had to overcome that. So, it's tough in situations like that. The old speedway racing was tough as well, just with how much would go on and how big of runs you would get and the crashes that they would create. But now it just seems like, being really smart about being able to keep track position all day is the biggest challenge.
They were talking on the broadcast. I don't know if it's true, and maybe you could tell our listeners out there. Do you feel that the air now is, instead of going over the car, is going under the car, and that's maybe some of the problems that we have with the new car?
I think the bottom of the new car is designed to use the air more than the old car was, and obviously the splitter is not flat in the front anymore, so there's more air going under the car, but there's also a lot of air going over the car. Obviously, we're not allowed to tape up the grills anymore,
right?
So all of that air comes out of the hood and goes over top of the car. So there's definitely, there's a lot of air moving around. I mean, I think it's just motorsports in general. Like, you can't unlearn everything that people have learned over, the last couple of decades of racing. Aerodynamics have come so far, and we're trying to build cars that get around that, but they still make downforce. We're still teams are going to figure out how to make them make downforce. So there's not a racing series in the world that it's easy for a car to follow another car. It's just when downforce is involved and car in front of you is punching a hole in the air, it's always tough.
Yeah, we're visiting with Alex Bowman, NASCAR Cup Series driver. Let's go back to Vegas, man. That was a big win for you. You beat Kyle Larson to the line. Talk about that win.
Yeah, Vegas was a great day for us. We were probably going to end up third if the caution didn't come out, and thankfully we got a late race caution and we're able to beat those guys on a green-white checkered, which is really cool. Anytime you go head-to-head with Kyle Larson and you're able to come out on top and win, it's awesome. So thankful to have a win in the book already, and we almost got another one at COTA. So just trying to keep this consistency that we've had so far this year going throughout the course of the summer, and really just got to be ready for when the playoffs start.
Let me ask you about your sprint car career. So you did pretty good last week. Talk about that and driving the sprint car. How's that going for you?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun trying to figure out, 410 wing sprint car racing. Ran a handful of races last year and decided to jump in the deep end this year, and went to Volusia with the Outlaws, and then East Bay with All Stars, and then last week went to Bridgeport with the PA Posse, and then Bloomsburg with All Stars the next night. So it's been cool. We're creeping up on it. It seems like I can qualify really well. Just trying to figure out racing, the dirty air, and kind of putting together 30 laps instead of just one in qualifying. So, set quick time at East Bay earlier this year, and have been qualifying really, really well. And our finishes are improving. So, we finished 7th at Bloomsburg, and probably could have run 4th or 5th. So we're definitely creeping up on it.
Yeah. So do you feel when you get out of a sprint car, because nobody did this back in the day, right? None of the team owners would allow their drivers to go run on the weekends. Do you feel like driving the sprint car that's helping you a little bit with the Cup car?
I think so. I think anytime you race something that's so fast and things happen so quickly like they do in a wing car, it helps when you get into something that's just slower. So obviously, the Cup cars, things happen a little bit slower. It's a little bit more methodical, and I think just acclimating to so much higher of a pace helps you when you get in something else. So it's been a lot of fun for me, but I also think it helps, and seat time in any different race car, I think, makes you a better race car driver.
Yeah. When is going to be your next debut in the sprint car? Where are you going to race next?
I'm thinking about going to Lincoln on Saturday night. It's like a 2.5-hour drive from Dover. So trying to figure out if I can get over there in time to run. They have a little bit of a interesting format. If you don't run their local series weekly, you got to tag the heat race, start in the back, and trying to make the feature a little bit tough. But we're going to go there with the Outlaws in a couple weeks. So just trying to go there and get some laps, and hopefully we can make it work.
I got to ask you about your teammate last night. Did you watch him win that late model race on that rugged track there at Eldora?
I did. I've never seen Eldora have so much bite and be so rough. So,
I know it.
Definitely an interesting surface compared to, the glass slick that you normally see there, but he did a great job. It's cool to see him get another win.
Yeah. Well, hey, here we're in Kansas City. Before I let you go, I just got to ask you a question about our speedway here at our intermediate track, I should say, here in Kansas City. What do you think of Kansas Speedway as a track?
Yeah, I really enjoy Kansas Speedway. As far as the repaves go, it's definitely the one place that is widened out. You can run from the top to the bottom, and I think it puts on a great show. So always enjoy going there. I feel like we've typically run pretty well there in the past. We struggled there a little bit last year, but excited to get back with this next-gen car and see how we do.
Yeah. Alex, we appreciate you taking the time to join us here on Mostly Motorsports. Good luck to you the rest of the way, man. I'm really enjoying watching you drive a sprint car. I traveled with the Lucas Oil ASCS National Sprint Car Tour for 13 years doing their broadcast. I'm a sprint car guy, and that's what I really love to watch, and I'm really excited about every time you get in your sprint car. It seems like that's really coming to you. I'm excited to see you do that in the future, man. Congratulations on the win in Vegas, and good luck to you this weekend.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, that's Alex Bowman. That was on Mostly Motorsports. Again, you can listen to that show Monday through Friday, 12 noon Central Time. You go to our Facebook page, Twitter, YouTube, or racingboys.com. You can watch that show live. Then we pull it down from those entities when we're done, and then you can find it wherever you find your favorite podcast. So you could always go to racingboys.com. We have a link on the homepage, a banner that says Mostly Motorsports. If you click on it, it will take you to – what episode are we on now, Austin?
Monday will be 80.
Our 80th episode.
On Monday, 79 was yesterday.
How about that? Already 80 shows in the books.
That episode you just heard there is already in the comment section. So if you guys want to watch that, just click that right there. And then also all the right there in the comment section. So you could click on that link.
All right, give a little shout out. I love it when people tell us where they're listening from around the country. It means so much to me personally. Ben, our good friend from Australia, is listening in. Cobra is listening in from New Zealand this morning, so we want to thank those guys. So if you could give us a shout out and let us know where you're listening to the show today, we appreciate that. Kirk, we didn't talk much about how rugged that racetrack was when the late models ran at Eldora. That was a pretty rough track, wasn't it?
Yeah, and they got quite a bit of rain out there, so
Yeah.
their hands were kind of tied at what condition that racetrack was. Next weekend, I think it's going to be a whole lot better shape when the Let's Race 2 shows up at Eldora. Next weekend, I expect a whole lot different racetrack.
Right.
Also, too, Eldora did bring in a bunch of new clay this year to the track surface. So, they had a lot of, unfriendly factors into the track surface. So, we got a bunch of rain. It's hard to mix clay in.
That was as rugged as that track is.
Yeah.
I've ever seen it.
Well, hopefully they get some weekly classes on there and can get the track ran in before the sprint cars, because I know the sprint car guys will not enjoy racing on Eldora that rough.
No. Yeah, I forgot. That's a good point.
They'll have it
about
fixed.
the added clay.
They should. Yeah. Eldora's pretty good about it.
Yeah, they'll have it. I'm not really worried about that at all.
Yeah, the added clay, that does create an issue if you don't have a lot of time to work it and get it worked in. That's going to be a problem.
How about old Hunter Schoenberg picking up the win last night at Lernerville?
How about that?
That was good. Did you watch it, Kurt?
Yeah, I did.
Mm-hmm.
He did a great job. That's his second career win on the All-Star Series. And our Clinton Boyles is part of the crew on that car.
He is. That's his brother-in-law.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe that that's only his second career All-Star feature win.
It drives me crazy not to see Clinton Boyles race, though. I'm just going to... It's a waste of talent. That kid can drive a race car. He's won championships at Gas City. He's won war championships. and he's a crew member now.
He's doing a good job at that.
I don't care. He needs to be driving a race car.
I agree with you. I'd like to see him out there behind the wheel of Carson. Greg Wilson, made the real run up through the field last night and looked like he might have had a shot at it there. He was picking them off one by one in that race last night, and so call out to him.
I don't think anybody had anything for Hunter Schoenberg. No. That was his second All-Star win last night. And did you see where he called out Sammy Swindell?
I heard about that.
He did.
So Sammy Swindell was driving a blue number 70 car, and he was going a lap down, and the leaders came up on him, and he raced the leaders like he was racing for the lead. And Hunter Schoenberg said in his post-race interview, I don't know if we can play it a little bit later or not, but he said in his post-race interview,
he wanted to slap him or something.
He said, when I went by Sammy, I wanted to reach out and slap him. And let me tell you, when you say you're going to slap Sammy Swindell around, you better be ready to slap Sammy around, because I promise you, him just saying that, I wouldn't be surprised if Sammy went down to his pits and said, come on, boy, you want to slap me? Come on.
Let's do it.
Jump on. Sammy is not a weak old man.
No.
Have you ever seen his arms? Sammy's arms?
But it also kind of goes back to when he wanted to fight that Justin Zimmerman at Devil's Bowl after Sammy ran the poor guy over.
Well, that's all right.
I know.
When you get old, you get a little crazy.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But Hunter Schoenberg calling out Sammy Swindell. How about that?
That was pretty good
Logan
stuff.
Wagner made the biggest run through that race, started 21st and ended up 5th.
They said Hunter changed brands. Do you know what he went from? He went from one brand of car to another. Do you know what he did there, Austin? Do you have any idea?
He should be on a Maxim. I'll look into it.
I think he changed brands of cars this year. He mentioned that in his post-race interview last night.
Can I say one thing while we're on this about Logan Wagner and Anthony Macri? The show they put on at Port Royal Speedway last Saturday night was epic. I mean, that was as great a race as you'll ever see. Those two guys going at it. Macri coming out on top, but a call out to Logan Wagner. I mean, those guys put on a show.
Yeah. Macri is the winningest driver in the country when it comes to 410 racing. He's won 8 races this year.
They finally got their problems figured out at Bristol. They couldn't get it up to speed, and I guess, they changed the engine. They changed all kinds of stuff on that car. Finally, they changed the tail tank on that car last night. They finally got it up to speed in that event last night. Everybody was wondering whether they was going to be able to run at all.
Hey, I don't care what anybody says about Sammy. I love him. He's one of my favorites, and he always will be.
Oh, yeah,
all right,
absolutely.
we're going to take a break with Track Talk. We'll be back with more. It's all brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. You're listening to it here on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Track Talk.
Next to your vehicle's engine, your transmission is the most important component of your car. If it's not properly maintained, your car may not shift properly. By adding Lucas Transmission Fix to your transmission, it cleans and lubricates sticking valves for proper shifting, renews worn bands to stop slipping, stops seal leaks, will not void new car warranties, contains no harmful solvents. Lucas Transmission Fix. It works.
It's Celebration Week at Shaman's Leawood Total Wellness. Celebrate 1 year of Dr. Kapoor and his tremendous team helping their clients achieve their aesthetic and wellness goals. Start your journey to total wellness by taking advantage of the huge anniversary sales now through Friday. Big discounts on aesthetic memberships, Botox, medical weight loss programs, gift cards, and more. All in time for Mother's Day. Shaman's Leawood Total Wellness anniversary celebration now through Friday. Visit them at 117th and Row or shamantotalwellness.com.
Hey Kansas City, it's Jeff Briggs with Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, home of the Victory Effect. Our pledge to drive down vehicle pricing for the city we love. The Start Something New sales event kicks off 2022, and interest rates remain close to all-time lows, plus trade values are bringing more than ever. It's a great time to buy. We know it's hard to find a replacement, but did you know if you custom order a new vehicle at Victory, you get to play best ball with the factory incentives? That's right. Get an accurate upfront price quote when you order today, and if the rebates are better when the vehicle arrives, the extra savings goes right in your pocket. It's a simple process, and we can show you how easy it is to customize a new vehicle and have it shipped directly to you. complete with your name personalized on the window sticker. And don't forget, if you have a trade, we buy your car at top dollar regardless of if you purchase a new vehicle from us or not. Visit us at Kansas City's only automotive outlet mall, the Legends Auto Plaza, on the southeast corner of 435 and Parallel, just east of Nebraska Furniture Mart, or online at victorymotorskc.com, where our first price is better than their last.
Besame Wellness, a Missouri-based, fully licensed cannabis dispensary built with community in mind. Check them out at any of their 5 locations in the metro. They provide award-winning customer service and unbeatable online experiences. It's convenient. You can order online with delivery or express pickup. They even offer payment at your doorstep. That's right, you can order from the comfort of your own home and have it delivered to your front door. Order online by going to besamewellness.com. That's besamewellness.com or call 816-775-2920. Besame Wellness, easy and convenient.
Hey, it's Eddie here, and Ram is on a never-ending quest to truly redefine what a truck can do and be. So forget everything you know about trucks. The Ram 1500 exceeds all expectations with available features like a 12-inch touchscreen, digital rear-view mirror, multifunctional tailgate. The list goes on. And the Ram 1500's design, quality, and technology are incredibly impressive. So if you're thinking about switching trucks, now is the perfect time. Learn more at ram.com. That's ram.com.
The NFL Draft on Sports Radio 810 WHB is presented by Twin Peaks. There's no offseason more exciting than football, and it all starts with the NFL Draft at Twin Peaks. Di Pasquale Moore. If you or a loved one has been hurt in a car wreck, remember Mike's got this. By Shamrock Roofing and Construction, where one call does it all. By Amini's. The outdoor furniture tent sale is going on right now at Amini's. And by Blue Chew. Go to BlueChew.com and enter the code WHB at checkout to get your first month free.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
I'm attorney Mike Di Pasquale. I played linebacker. I won a state championship. I played Division I ball. I know a thing or two about winning. The winning attitude starts with confidence. My law firm is so confident in what we do that if we take your injury case and we don't win, you don't pay us a dime. So if you've been hurt, call me. My team wants to win for you. I've got this.
Mike's got this. All you need to know.
Coming back, fellas.
1-6-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Welcome back to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Don't forget hour number 2. You can watch it on our Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and racingboys.com. Man, a big oversight with me, and somebody brought it up on the form board last night. Logan Wagner might have been the fastest car at Lernerville last night. He won the B main, started dead last in the A main, and worked his way all the way back up to 5th. Did you see that, Austin?
Now, you didn't listen to me, did you? I mentioned that here just a few minutes ago.
Kirk,
weren't you listening?
No, I'm not listening to you this morning. You're too much up on the chip for me this morning.
I brought that up.
You did?
Yes, I did.
You mentioned that he ran last. He won the B.
I said he started 21st and he ended up 5th.
Oh, well, I didn't listen.
I said that.
Well, you know, you
called me out for not listening. There's an example right now.
You're on my nerves this morning, Kirk.
Because you don't agree with what I'm saying?
No, I don't. I think sometimes you just sound silly. I don't understand.
Only my opinion.
I just don't understand you sometimes.
You can agree or disagree.
Well, that's all right. We've been doing that for 22 years. That's all good. Not a problem. All right, Kirk, you want to lead us into our next interview that we did with Mr. Ben Shelton?
Yeah, Ben Shelton's a great announcer. He was working at Eldora Speedway the other night on the PA, and Kyle Larson put on a show there. He won that race on a Rep racetrack, and you talked to him the morning after that, before the race at Brownstown, Indiana, the other night, with that Flow Racing challenge that is ongoing through the rest of the year. And here's a portion of the conversation that Scott had with Ben Shelton during Mostly Motorsports here just the other day.
Let's start off by talking about last night's race. Kyle Larson. Have you seen such a dominant performance
He's an animal. I mean, he's
unbelievable.
Right?
It's unbelievable.
He's out there with the best in the sport, in unbelievably challenging track conditions, and he wins by like 5 seconds. In his heat race with a caution with 2 to go, and he still wins by 2.5 seconds. Yeah. I mean, it's very unbelievable. He's got a great team. There's no two ways about it, but his ability is it's just unreal.
We had this little debate, and Steve Post was on with us here just a moment ago, and I'm sorry we ran a little bit late with him, but the debate is right now, who would you say is the best driver in the world? Me personally, I say it's Kyle Larson, because you look at all of his accomplishments and what he's done in each division and what he's won, and I think 6 different types of cars that he's won at Eldora with. Is there anybody on the planet better than Kyle Larson right now?
If there is, we don't know about him or her. We just don't, because he's just head and shoulders. And I passed the Andretti Autosports IndyCar team today coming on the interstate, which is the things you see in Indiana on the interstates.
Right.
And it occurred to me, I was like, really, that's about all he's got left. He's got a Daytona, he's got a Indy 500 try in him or something like that, or hell, who knows, maybe even Formula One down the road. But one thing we know, whatever he gets in, he figures out really fast. And it's just very impressive. And, man, it's good for racing. It's good for dirt. It's good for NASCAR. It's good for the late model world. It's good for the sprint car world. What he's doing is really doing a lot of great things. And, tonight we're going to see Chase Briscoe here at Brownstown. He's going to make his late model debut. Well, he just won a sprint car race at Talladega last weekend.
Right.
And seeing these guys go between the different genres, I can't see how there's not anything but a total win for us all.
No, I'd have to agree with you. And I've got to think about some of the upcoming drivers. Last night, Sunshine, man, he really blew me away with his performance for the first time in a late model last night. He wins that B main. What did he end up running 9th, I think, in the A?
Yeah.
I was blown away by his ability to drive that late model last night.
I mean, I'm not going to lie, I was too. I mean, he's tested once or twice, and then you throw him to Eldora, and you throw him not to conventional Eldora either. You send him to angry Eldora with dirt and, whoop-de-doos in it. And, and he learned the entire night. And, he had a big time. He was fired up about it. I know Kevin Thomas Jr., he's been proactively seeking a ride. I know last night during the broadcast, Blake Anderson, Justin Peck was texting him.
Right.
And Scott, look, I grew up in the Memphis area on sprint cars. Most people know me for late models because the late model world's been good to me.
Right.
You've been around sprint car stuff your whole life. Did you ever, if somebody had told you 10 years ago there's going to be this huge push for sprint car guys to want late models, would you have ever believed it?
No, I never would have believed that in a million years. But, the crossover is so intriguing now for some of these drivers, right? You see them doing different genres of types of motorsports and how they're running. It's just amazing right now to see the quality of drivers that want to kind of dip into different genres of racing right now.
No, it is, and it's entertaining. And admittedly, it's probably got me paying attention to some things a little bit more than I normally would. Because you get interested, and we all want a good story. We all want a good storyline, and we want somebody that's fun. And, man, Larson's fun. We're here at Brownstown last year. He'd never seen this place, and he came in here, and he won.
Yeah.
And that was his first Castrol Flow Racing win. And, I know Tanner English told me at the end of the night, he's like, man, I hope he just goes back to NASCAR. He goes, I feel like I know this place better than anybody. And he goes, he just handed it to me. I threw everything I had at him. And he goes, you could watch every lap. He was getting better and better behind the wheel.
Yeah. Well, there you have it. Ben Shelton joining us on the show. Again, that's Mostly Motorsports. You can listen to it daily at 12 noon Central Time. And you can watch it here where you're watching your Track Talk show this morning. So
2 minutes.
Wherever you chose to watch it. Lakeside Speedway rained out last night. They're going to run on Sunday.
Sunday afternoon, 2 o'clock.
We're going to talk about that in hour number 2. And Lake Ozark Speedway canceled as well, right?
They did. Couldn't get it in last night, and but they did get in racing at Humboldt last night. We got some results.
Yeah, Humboldt has canceled next week's ASCS Sooner Region race that they were going to run there because of tires, right, Austin?
That's the unfortunate news. Not what you wanted to hear.
You don't want to hear that.
No, I love Humboldt, one of my favorite tracks, and I was hoping to go down there. But
instead, you're going to have to go to Monette now.
I hope not. I probably will skip that one.
Where's the race after Monette?
Lucas Oil. I'll go to Lucas. Lucas is a good place to go to.
Yeah, that's a pretty good place.
I went to Monat.
It's the diamond of dirt tracks. Nicest track in the country as far as I'm concerned.
I went to a race at Monat last year. Man, that's
the
old style racetrack.
Did it rubber up?
I can't remember if it did or not.
Yeah.
To be right honest with you.
All right. Hey, don't forget, folks, that hour number 2 is going to be coming up here in just a little bit. You can watch it on our Facebook page. You can watch it on Twitter. You can watch it on YouTube, or you can watch it on racingboys.com. And if you want to watch or tune in and listen to any of our 79 Mostly Motorsports podcasts, just go to the racingboys.com homepage. Click on the banner. It says Mostly Motorsports with Scott Traylor, and it will take you to our entire archive page and all the shows that we've done up to that point. For my partner, Kirk Elliott, for Austin O'Neill, for Todd Surprise, I'm Scott Traylor. We thank you so much for tuning in. We hope that you'll follow us over on hour number 2 on our Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and racingboys.com. For everybody here at racingboys.com and Blake back at Sports Radio 810, we'll see you hour number 2 right around the corner.
Call the technicians Kansas City Trust.
Good stuff, fellas. Thanks, my man. Appreciate it, brother.
Y'all have a great weekend.
All right, you too. Go Chiefs.
Has been synonymous
Go Chiefs.
for getting the job done right the first time. Call Anthony today at 268-4669 or visit them at anthonyphce.com for their draft cooling special. And for only $69, they'll come out and inspect and clean your cooling system. Trust the technicians and
Taking care of your car is a responsibility. It ensures the long life of your car and its expensive components. That's why Lucas Oil takes automotive protection so seriously. Lucas heavy-duty oil stabilizer bonds with motor oil to shield engines from heat and wear. So take pride in caring for your car and pass that pride and knowledge to the next generation for years of smooth, reliable driving on the long road ahead. Trust Lucas Oil. It works.
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Dirt Specialty Sportswear in-house. We do all of the screen printing, all the embroidery. We do some vinyl. The other add specialty items like your pens, magnets, notepads, calendars. You can actually buy that, build your business to make it larger. We have the largest screen printing process and the largest embroidery anywhere around in the area. We can do stuff all the way from your school clubs to sports teams, a professional look in the office. If you can imagine it, we can do it for you.
One of the main reasons for poor vehicle performance is a dirty fuel system. It can cause decreased fuel economy and actually do harm to your engine over time. By adding Lucas Fuel Treatment to your vehicle, it cleans and lubricates the entire fuel system, pump, carburetors, fuel injectors, and valves as you drive. It also improves your vehicle's performance. It's a non-solvent product designed to protect both gasoline and diesel engines. Lucas Fuel Treatment. It works. There is less than 1/100th of an inch of motor oil protecting your car's engine. Friction and heat causes engine oil to experience thermal breakdown, weakening its ability to protect the engine and its parts. Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer is specially formulated to resist thermal breakdown, protect vital engine parts, and extend the life of your engine. It also stops smoking, knocking, and oil consumption in worn engines. Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer. Keep that engine alive.
Missouri's must play getaway. Osage National Golf Resort.
3 9-hole courses to choose from at the Lake of the Ozarks in the Osage River Valley. Stay and play packages in our first-class condos. A beautiful clubhouse complete with pro shop and exercise facilities. A large pool for relaxation and families. The Eagle View Sports Bar and Grill. Great wedding facilities. Go online and make your tee time today.
Race fans, the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum is open 7 days a week, year-round, for you to come in and check out all of the wonderful race cars on display in the museum. And our online store at sprintcarstuff.com is open 24 hours a day for you to check out everything that we have in stock for sprint car fans. Whether it's for a birthday, anniversary, or Christmas, sprintcarstuff.com has it all. That's at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum in Knoxville.
Next to your vehicle's engine, your transmission is the most important component of your car. If it's not properly maintained, your car may not shift properly. By adding Lucas Transmission Fix to your transmission, it cleans and lubricates sticking valves for proper shifting, renews worn bands to stop slipping, stops seal leaks, will not void new car warranties, contains no harmful solvents. Lucas Transmission Fix. It works.
Hey, this is Larry the Cable Guy, and you're listening to Racing Boys, and if you ain't listening to them, you get out of the country because you're a communist. I love the Racing Boys. Like Mater says, they make me happier than a tornado in a trailer park. You know, the funny thing about that is the Larry voice and the Mater voice are exactly the same. Get her done!
Welcome to Hour 2 of Track Talk on the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. Brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. Made in America, sold to the world. Here again are the Racing Boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Well, welcome back. Hour number 2 of Track Talk. This is the fun hour, right? This is the hour when it all goes down, right? This is when opinions matter the most. You know, when you're on Sports Radio 810 WHB, you can't say the stuff that you say on radio.
P's and Q's.
I was going to say that you can't say the shit you say on radio. But Kirk, you know, Kirk doesn't like it when people cuss on the internet.
Well,
but, you know, that's just part of it, man. That's just the world we live in now. People cuss. Don't they, Todd? Do you cuss any? Do you ever cuss at all?
My wife is embarrassed about how much I cuss.
Right,
so, yeah.
right.
But I had a friend say, I can't believe you can do terrestrial radio and is cuss as much as you do in your normal talking every day.
Right.
And able to rein it in. And I said, well, I'm only on for a couple seconds at a time.
Right,
so I'm able to pull that back.
You can pull it back.
I'm able to
reel it in a little bit.
I'm able to be civil for a couple minutes.
All right. I want to know where everybody's listening from right now. We got a nice listening audience on Facebook right now, and I want to know where everybody's listening from. I get more enjoyment out of that. Central Point, Oregon, that's what Kelly just chimed in. She says she's listening up there in Oregon. Love the Pacific Northwest. Gosh, do I love it up there. Love Cottage Grove. Love Willamette. 2 of my favorite racetracks. I wish we would have went back there with the Lucas Oil ASCS National Sprint Car Tour, but I think Mr. Schramm kept us out of there. I think that's the reason we didn't get back up there. I don't know the particulars or why, but I just know that Jerry Schramm was one of the reasons we didn't get back up there. So, and Leroy, he's in from Raymore, Missouri. That's not too far. Leroy, how you doing? Kirk, what are you doing over there?
Just looking at the schedule at Dover today.
Ernie's checking in from Hiawatha, Kansas. And Mel is checking in from Grain Valley, St. Charles County, Missouri. Steve, we always can count on Steve checking in with us on the show. It's always good to hear where people are listening to the show. We've got a lot of people that listen to us out on the East Coast. Are you surprised sometimes, Austin, how many people listen to us on the East Coast?
No. No, and the fact that...
Why is that?
Well, with Racing Boys has been built around, the ASCS National Tour for 13 years.
We didn't travel the East Coast that much.
No, but you still went out there for, a couple of years?
Yeah, we did.
So, you still had an effect and a pull out there. So, people, over there pay attention to what we're doing in the Midwest. So, I'm not surprised one bit of the listeners that we have on both sides of the country.
Pam's listening from Trenton, Missouri.
You drove the Racing Boys truck right down in Manhattan, New York City.
Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. Chuck's listening from. Jim's listening from Kearney, Missouri. I wonder that's probably your boy, isn't it, Jim?
I don't know Jim personally.
You don't know Jim.
Oh, but it's cool to see I got somebody from my hometown listening.
Yeah, right. That's good. That's nice.
No, I'm saying when you get the exposure in New York City, you drove the Racing Boys truck through there. That's out
we
east,
sure
right?
did, man. Got some pictures of it down in Times Square. Even.
Right.
Yeah, that was fun.
I mean, you were out through Pennsylvania.
I had the best tour guide when I was in New York City than anybody could ever had. I had Jeff Christensen, who lived in New York City in the late 70s and early 80s, and we went to his old motel. I mean, his apartment complex, and the restaurant that was below it had turned his apartment into part of the restaurant. And where we ate, our table, that's where Jeff's bed used to be.
Right in the middle of Manhattan, was it not?
It was. Yeah, it was fun. A lot of fun, man.
So, yeah, we had exposure out there. You've been all through Pennsylvania.
I love the East Coast, man. I just love the people out there, the sprint car people on the East Coast. That they are. Is there a more diehard group of sprint car fans anywhere in the country, Austin, than PA?
I think the only one or only two that could rival that would be Knoxville, Iowa, or California.
Well, our area is pretty good.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we're pretty saturated around here.
Those are the top three, and we're close, I think, fourth.
Yeah.
But, I mean, those two, both coasts, pull a hard amount of sprint car fans.
Yeah. Well, the West Coast is not nearly, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but it's not nearly as intense as the rabid fans the 410 fans that are out on the East Coast.
No, not.
I mean, that's nothing against the people that race out on the West Coast, because we love all those guys out there. And, it's just, man, whenever we went to, it was so funny, when we went to PA with the Lucas Oil ASCS National Sprint Car Tour back in the day, I thought I've said this on the air before, and I'll say it again. When we got out there, I thought, oh, man, the 410s, I always thought they were just 410 snobs out there. It's not the case. Those are the nicest people. You know what they said when we showed up out there? We've been waiting for you to get here for years. We are so happy that you're here. And I couldn't have been more happy hanging out with the sprint car fans in Pennsylvania at Williams Grove and Seelings Grove. They were just the nicest people.
They're great fans out there.
I just couldn't believe how they treated us when we showed up. I figured they were just going to treat us like we're just 360s. You know what I mean? But it was exactly the opposite of that.
They love their sprint car racing in Pennsylvania.
They just love it.
I mean, if 410 is dominant, but they like it all. And, to take like Williams Grove Speedway last night, they had both the 410s and the 360s, the URC 360s in action last night. 358, I think they call them out there.
They're not 360s. Yeah.
But they had those guys as part of the show last night.
Why wouldn't they just make them 360s?
They should. Mm-hmm. The one oddball in the country. I think you'd bring more Midwestern cars out there.
I think people would go out there and race more.
I think
you might even travel out there if there was a regular.
I mean, if there was a big show, you would pull some good 360s.
Right.
It's like Mark Smith. He comes to Lucas Oil every year, or not last year, but years prior.
Lloyd says he's listening from my underground bunker deep in the backwoods.
We got a bad storm going through there, Lloyd, or what's going on?
What are you doing back there, Lloyd?
Why are you in your bunker?
Lloyd, are you back there in the bunker because you're burying bodies, or what's going on back there? I don't know what to think about you anymore, you old backwoods boy. I don't know.
I think
country
he's
boy now.
I think he's stocking food and burying water and preparing for the end of times.
All right. Caleb said Chico had 25 410s last night, and California 410s back or what? No, I think. Listen, I've said this here recently. I think there's a huge resurgence of 410 racing going on right now. Don't you agree, Austin? I mean,
yes, there is.
There's a lot of people that have started to look at the 360s, and this is no disrespect to 360s because I love them as much as anything. But they're starting to look at the cost between what it would cost to run with the All-Stars with the 410 and what it would cost to run Lucas Oil ASCS with the 360.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of difference, is there?
Not that I know of. I mean
the freshening up the motors is the biggest expense that I see.
I
right?
mean, I don't know how much.
What do you freshen up a 410 about every 10, 12, 13 races?
Wayne Johnson told us he was getting 20 of his Kisslers. So I think anywhere from 15 to 20, depending on who you have.
I want to know the guys that are running up front.
I couldn't tell you. I don't.
I
don't know.
I bet you they rebuild their motors 10, 12 races. The people that have the budget.
Yeah, I think like your top of World of Outlaw teams do that, but like a rider for a 360 is every bit of $55,000, and I think the 410s are a couple thousand more than that. So I mean, you just got to kind of look at what racing is superior in your area and what's kind of best for your dollar.
And not only that, the 410 races pay more.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you also just got to weigh out, what's it cost to drop the back door compared to a 360 and a 410, and what it's like 10 races down the road, 20 races, or 40 races.
But winning the Lucas Oil ASCS National Sprint Car Tour Championship, it still pays $50,000 to win that championship. That's not chump change.
No.
The problem is you got to race for $3,000 to $4,000.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, there's
most 410 races. What? About $10,000, right?
Yeah, I think the base for the Outlaws is 10. So I mean, there's
what's
pros
the All Stars pay?
We can look that up.
Yeah,
but I mean,
can you look that up? See what the All Stars pay?
There's pros and cons to each series and each class you run.
Yeah. What do you, Kirk? It doesn't matter to you. 410, 360.
It paid $6,000 to win.
When last night?
Yep. Hunter Schoenberg brought home $6,000.
They're going to be at Sharon Speedway tonight and Waynesfield on Sunday night.
Right.
So, by the way, Dominic Scelsi wins out at Silver Dollar Speedway last night.
Yeah.
Looks like Corey Day may have had another great run last night, too, but fell short. Dominic Scelsi, the winner.
Yep. The All-Stars will be running at I-96 and Joliet next weekend.
Actually, speaking of Joliet, Route 66 Speedway, they announced that they're done for the season. They closed.
They closed the racetrack.
I believe so.
Look, sure enough, right on their schedule it says canceled.
I'll find the press release here and see if we can talk about why they canceled it.
All right.
Which track is that?
Joliet, Route 66.
They're tearing. They had the old the drag strip and the Chicagoland Speedway there.
Yeah.
And I think they're tearing all that down. Building big Amazon buildings or whatnot in that area. So I think all of those facilities are being dismantled. That's sad.
Yeah.
It's a great, especially that drag strip facility up there. Great facility.
Here's the question of the day. I want everybody that's with us on Facebook right now. Will Kyle Larson race with the World of Outlaws in the late model tonight? Come on, yes or no?
Yes. Yep.
Austin, yes or no? Will Kyle Larson race the late model tonight?
Yeah. Kevin Rumley said they were going to stay in race.
Oh, he did say it?
Yes.
Yep.
I mean,
no, because at the end of that interview, didn't he say something about
after this weekend?
After pick where we're going to run.
After this weekend.
They've already put a new decking on it at that point when they were talking to Kevin. So they're making efforts to fix the car. They're just going to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
But they're going to race. Kyle's going to be there tonight racing both events.
All right.
So, by the way, Devin Borden, the winner of the 410 at Williams Grove Speedway last night. He's like a new Pennsylvania resident now. He's from the Pacific Northwest. He's out in Pennsylvania now. Does he live there now?
Yeah, he drives Mike Hefner's car full time.
So picked up a big win last night. Josh Weller winning the URC 360 feature event at Williams Grove.
What's URC, Kurt?
URC sanctioned sprints.
What's URC stand for?
I don't know.
I don't even know. Have you ever heard of URC?
I've heard of them. I don't know. I think it's...
That's way down the pecking order, isn't it?
I do.
United Racing Club. That's what it stands for.
I haven't ever heard of those guys.
There's a press release right there on the big screen for you.
They've been around a while.
Oh, for the All-Stars. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I think that facility is going away up there in Joliet.
Chad says...
no longer taking... I'm sorry, go ahead.
Chad says, what have you guys heard about insurance not allowing anyone under 16 to run a sprint car? I see Scotty Martin posted on Facebook that was coming, and we talked about that on the show this week, that was kind of... We spent almost the whole show one day this week, didn't we, Austin, talking about that?
Yes, we did. We found the article about that, but nothing else came out. No press
confirming
releases.
That's going to be the case. Well, so what do you think? Do you think that people need to wait till they're 16 to drive a sprint car? Yes or no? Kirk?
Yes. I think so.
I agree.
I'm around a lot of 15, 14-year-old kids all day.
Their bodies aren't developed
Not
enough.
one of those kids. I've only seen 2 or 3 kids that I would trust with my life.
First of all, Todd, the way your kid throws a baseball, that shouldn't even be allowed because it twists his arm. And, my gosh. I hope his arm's okay when he's 40 years old.
They don't let him throw, you can't throw curveballs or anything when you're in the little leagues, up until.
Yeah, but he's not in little leagues.
Oh, no, now
anymore.
it's full on. It's all.
Right.
It's a go now.
Yeah.
So,
Does he throw a knuckleball?
Everything.
Has he ever thrown a knuckleball?
At home. I don't think he throws it in a game.
Yeah.
Your son is not really into it to pitch, is he?
Nah, he'll pitch. He's a good enough athlete that he'll pitch.
He pitched for a while.
Yeah, until he blew his arm out. And
exactly my point, Todd.
He wants to be a great hitter and a great second baseman or whatever, right?
He's getting ready to transfer to the outfield
outfielder.
This
He's
next
good at
year.
that.
He thinks that a lot of the recruiters think that
he's better out there.
Well, there's a shortage of really good talented outfielders right now in D1 schools, so I think
your son Zach's would be a great outfielder.
So I'm saying full-size cars, yes, you got to be 16 years old. Does anybody disagree with us on this? I don't see many people disagreeing with us right now.
Nope.
There was a 13-year-old, Caleb said there was a 13-year-old racing with MLRA at Lucas last weekend. Should we allow 13-year-olds to run late models? Are they more safe than a sprint car? Should we allow them?
No.
13? I wouldn't say so. I mean, I can't really say anything. I was in a stock car at 14, so
16 is a good number. 16 is a good age.
But hold on, Austin. You were in a stock car at 14.
Yeah.
Was there a lot of people giving you crap about it?
Not.
Did you ever hear any crap about you being 14 years old racing out there with adults?
I'd have to ask my parents on that. I think if they heard anything, it'd be that they would hear it, not me. But I think there was a couple people that didn't like it.
Here's the problem with this age thing. What would that do to midget racing?
Oh, wipe it out.
It would kill it.
It would. I mean, look at Keith Coons Motorsports or Chad Boat.
I mean, they got
it's
nothing
all young
but
kids with renter rides.
Yeah, well, but listen, let's be fair about that. A lot of those kids that rent rides are pretty good drivers.
They are.
I mean, a parent, you know how a parent is. They always believe in their kid. They always believe they're going to do good, right? But the fact is, not all of them are good. But there is some spoiled rich kids out there that are really good race car drivers.
Yes. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. And just because they're spoiled rich kid, that we can't hold that against them.
No.
God, I wish I was a spoiled rich kid when I was coming up through the ranks. I would have given anything for my dad or mom to be filthy rich so I could drive any race car I wanted. Drive a toter home and a big old rig and do whatever I want to do. And Dad, send me another check. I need some money. Man, wouldn't that be nice?
That'd be awesome.
That'd be great.
Yeah, there is a reason why they backed off the age limit at the Chili Bowl.
Let me tell you something about my racing back in the day, just so you know. I remember there was a time when I was living with my grandma in an apartment complex, and I had a race car in a trailer, and I had nowhere to put it. You know where I worked on that race car? In the RV lot at my grandma's apartment complex. I'd leave my car on the trailer during the week. I would go down to the RV park, and I would go in there, and I'd do all the work on my car that I could do, and then it never came off the trailer during the week, Austin.
Did you at least wash it?
I you know me.
Okay, good.
You know me.
I do know you.
You know my cars are clean.
I do know you.
Right. So all I can say is my stuff looked good. It might have been a little beat up because I was racing at Riverside at the time. But let me tell you, I was not spoiled. I had to grind it out with my car on the trailer in an RV parking lot so I could go racing. Now, is that dedication?
It is.
Yeah.
You know, I think some of the things that we lose with, young kids that have plenty of money that come in there, and you can call them a renter rider, but you kind of lose, like, the dedication and, like, the motivation to want to do it. They don't have to. They just got to show up and drive. And they lose that aspect of, knowing how the car works, how to put a car together, and just knowing the mechanics of a car. And you just, that's something really important to have. And that's one thing that you don't get to see. Not all renter riders are like that, but majority of them are.
Yeah.
It's just, it's to have that knowledge. When you come into a ride like that, just makes everything so much nicer, I feel, my opinion.
Right.
Well, the one thing about it, these kids at a very young age are veteran racers by the time they get to be 16 years old a lot of times.
Well, they've been racing for 10 years.
Right.
Yeah, I've been racing for 13, 14.
When did you start in junior sprints?
No, I ran flat carts.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I never ran a junior sprint. First,
lucky you didn't break your neck in those go-karts.
Never flipped one. Never flipped until I got in a sprint car.
Really?
Yep.
How many times did you flip that?
Can't tell you.
You just don't want to admit.
Can't tell you.
I don't want to admit it.
Over 10.
10 times?
Yeah, it's about 10.
Oh, my gosh. Austin, that gets expensive, doesn't it, buddy?
I know. Lucky I didn't just shut down last year.
You think that's one of the reasons why the Chili Bowl changed the age limit a little bit? Because some of these kids at a very young age have proven with experience that they can wheel these race cars far better than kids of that age, say 10, 15 years ago, that on a case-by-case basis, if you look at it and judge the experience of these kids on a case-by-case basis, that's probably the way to go.
Yeah.
I think that's what they were thinking at the Chili Bowl, and for that, it's not too... I mean, look at Ryan Timms, what he's been doing.
Yeah.
So... Yeah. It's
Vicky Watland said on here, some 14-year-olds are more mature than others.
Right.
If you came through the ranks of other types of racing, you seem... Oh, it moved up on me right there. Right when I was... if you go up through the other types of racing, you seem to be more respectful. Well, I don't know. I just think that... if you're going to race at a professional level, you got to be 16 years old.
I agree.
I
think these big series, the World of Outlaws and, late model series and high-level USAC midgets and so forth, I think you need to be.
Well, I mean, look at it. The World
16.
of Outlaws still have a 16, the age limit's still 16 to race with the Outlaws. Knoxville's still 16. So, I mean, there's still certain series around the country and tracks.
ASCS will let you run in underage.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right. It was as we've seen with Ryan Timms.
Right, yeah, no doubt.
And I think with that high-level series, and I'm okay with it at Knoxville, having that regulation. So there's some situations where, it just makes sense to still have that regulation.
Right. All right. Hey, as you know, we've been doing our daily show, Mostly Motorsports. Again, it's brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. It works. We had a chance to talk with the voice of Skagit Speedway. We'll do a little update about what's going on up there. 410 Racing, how it's going to make the transition now from last year when they had 360s doing Dirt Cup. They're going to 410s. Rudine family has bought that racetrack. They've done a huge amount of capital improvements. We had a conversation with Caleb Hart this week on Mostly Motorsports. They talked about bringing back a weekly 410 class up there at Skagit.
I don't know if weekly is in the cards. This year's schedule does have a 410 class on the schedule, but it is very, very once in a while. And by once in a while, they're going to run on May the 7th. And then they're going to run once in June before Dirt Cup, which is now 410 again. And then they're going to run once in July and then Outlaws for 3 days. So there's 9 total 410 shows on the agenda.
Right.
I don't know if weekly is ever going to be in the cards again, but they certainly have put an emphasis on bringing that class back and putting them in action more than what they had been in years past. And we'll see how it's going to end up working. There's some excitement for it. I was up at the track on Saturday and inputting some driver registrations and doing some work on, some of the back end stuff that you got to do as a track announcer for like sponsors and stuff. And just looking through, there's a number of drivers who have picked up 410s who are going to be racing in the class that, shows, okay, cool. They've made an emphasis on bringing the division back, and some of the drivers are going to support it, which is very cool.
Yeah. Do you feel like there's going to be a resurgence of 410s back up in that area now that they've committed to 410s and having those 9 dates and Dirt Cup going back to 410s? Do you think there's going to be a resurgence of 410 cars up in that area?
I think it can be successful if done right.
Yeah.
There's a couple of key factors, and there's a couple of reasons why 410s went away to begin with.
You want to break that down for us a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So 410s on the West Coast were dying. Between Chico and Skagit, they were the weekly 410 classes, and both of them were struggling to get double-digit cars on a regular night. The Tour, what was King of the West at the time, had gotten a little bump when Dan Simpson bought it, but then kind of tapered off back downhill to where they were struggling to draw some cars. And really, it looked like the West Coast was going to be a 360 racing region. And there's been, over the last, I'm going to say 5-6 years, this kind of, well, why can't we run 410s? Right. What's the reasoning that we're not bringing 410s back? And especially with the fact that 360 engines started escalating in cost, kind of like the 410 did. Not to the same high levels, but within a reasonable amount of money. Okay, I can have a brand new killer 360, or for 10, 15 more, I can have a brand new killer 410.
Yeah.
Of which, and you being pretty deep into the 360 world like you were, there's more better paying 410 shows across the country than there are 360 shows.
Right.
It might be a little more efficient to run the 360, but your high end of those guys, the big paydays are in 410 racing.
Right. There's no doubt.
So 410 racing was dying. And then Peter Murphy kind of got involved. He got Keller Auto Speedway and got a new group behind King of the West, which is now the Northern Auto Racing Club again. It's now NARC.
Right.
And then Peter came in up at Skagit with Kevin Rudine. And now Kyle Larson and Brad Sweet and Colby Copeland have Chico again.
Right.
And all of these guys who are big 410 guys now have strongholds and footholds on the West Coast once again. And they want 410 racing to happen, and they're putting time, effort, money, and resources into bringing 410 racing back to that rung. Skagit's 410 shows, not the Dirt Cup and not the Outlaw, but the quote local 410 shows are paying $4,000 to win a night and have a really good 2-start.
Yeah.
So that makes it more financially feasible for guys to, drop the back door on a 410 again. And NARC now has like some big paying like Speed Week runs and stuff like that where guys can go up and run their cars and run them at, you're always going to lose money racing. Very few people make it. But
very few.
To the point where you can go have a 410 and break even and go do these things. And that's huge. So
yeah, I think where it really started, where the transition with the cost of 360s, and you can correct me if you're wrong, and if you think I'm wrong, feel free to say so, because we all have our own opinions, right? And that's what this show's based on. It's based on opinions. Everybody's got one. I think when it really, the trend started where the cost of 360 racing got out of hand is when they allowed to let the Ford motor come in to 360 racing, because the Ford motor was so superior to everything else, right? Everybody that put everybody that put one of those Ford motors in, they dominated. Jason Johnson did it. Jeff Swindell did it. There was a lot of guys that went ahead and went with the Ford motor, right? And and they would get up off of the corner better. They could turn more RPMs on the big end. They were just a superior motor, and the runner was a little bit different in the cylinder head too, and that ticked off a lot of people, right? But absolutely. But then what happened is those Ford motors started selling for about $55,000. And then next thing you know, the guys that were building the Chevrolet motor said, well, if they're going to get that kind of money out of those Fords, we're going to bump up our price on these Chevrolets. And that's what happened. The Chevrolet motors started getting nearly as expensive as the 410s. Do you agree?
I remember when I heard, I remember seeing, and so your time frame on this is going to be a little bit better than mine. So correct me if I'm wrong here. Jason had the Ford motor 2010, 2011, 2012 range.
Something
Does
like
that sound about right?
Yeah.
Or am I too early on that?
No, that's about right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I remember seeing those come about, and I remember coming down and watching one of the ASCS shows in Elma and watching him with that 410 motor and going, my God, that thing just looks, sounds, pulls, and runs different. And I think you're spot on. I think it started an arms race to, where I heard Brian Brown's Knoxville 360 motor 7 years ago, was a $65,000 360. And I went, my God, for $65,000, you can go get
a 410.
4-12 head 410s and run at a place that doesn't take big motor stuff and go that way, right?
Yeah.
So I think you're spot on the Ford deal. I think that's what kind of started the arms race and started the ratcheting up of cost, plus just, natural inflation of parts and product and stuff like that on the typical small block Chevrolet has just gone up. We've seen crazy inflation just this year alone, but in general, parts always end up costing more, and that whole world just kind of normalized between the 410 and the 360. So, I think in 360 racing, you are 100% accurate as to what started the arms race there.
All right, that's Caleb Hart from Mostly Motorsports. Again, you can listen to it Monday through Friday, 12 noon Central Time. You can watch it right here where you're watching Track Talk. And he's a good guy. He worked for us for many years. How many years did Caleb work for us, Kurt?
Oh, gosh, more than
10 years, probably?
Long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good announcer
He's
up there.
very good at what he does, very professional,
Still doing it for Flo.
Very studious.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the way.
Just looking at the schedule for Dover this afternoon. We got the Cup cars out on the racetrack now for practice. They'll qualify those cars at 10:15 Central Time this morning. Xfinity race at 12:30 this afternoon on FS1. And Brandon Jones on the pole for that race. So the Cup race tomorrow at the Monster Mile. So we'll be watching that.
You're going to be watching it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
400 laps. It's better than the old days of 500 laps.
Oh, my God. It was terrible.
Thank God they cut that down.
Yeah.
So we'll...
what are you going to watch tonight, Kurt?
We'll watch Bristol. We'll watch the All-Stars at Sharon Speedway tonight. And the non-wing USAC sprints will be at Hobstadt tonight. Tri-State Speedway. We got rained out last. That was disappointing. They got those cars Is it rained out tonight?
We just talked about that.
Are they rained out tonight?
Yes.
They are. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Hopstead rained out.
Oh, because I just said that, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
I said rained out at Tri-State. You said
in
rained
Hobstadt,
out
Indiana.
in Hobstadt, and Nevada, Missouri's rained out too.
Okay. That was disappointing. They had those cars rolled out on the racetrack, ready to start that A main last night at Bloomington, and here it comes.
Here it comes.
So they had to roll them back in.
You know, they rode with that for a long time, though. Did you notice that?
They did. They stuck with it.
They stayed with that broadcast for a long time, and it was raining its ass off there.
Yeah.
And I was shocked that they were even trying to get that racetrack back
I
in.
am too. I mean, they waited it out.
I couldn't
until
believe it.
Said, we can't do it anymore. So, but they got the complete show in, so the fans, they don't get their rain checks or anything, so they'll have to reschedule that race at a later date.
Austin said All-Stars may be questionable at Sharon tonight.
Okay.
The weather might be moving in there. All right, let's bring in Lee Spencer, Racing Boys Own. What are you doing, Lee?
Hi, kid.
Hey.
Hi, Lee.
Hey, so did you watch the
Hi, Kirk.
Did you watch the debacle last night with Kyle Larson when he got out of the late model and he slammed the World of Outlaws? Did you see that?
Are you kidding me?
No.
I did. I watched the replay because I was at the ball game, and it was like something came up on my Twitter feed about Larson, and so I went to Dirt Vision real quick and watched the replay. But as you know, on the replays, they don't do the post race, so I completely missed that.
Well, we're going to get Austin to cue it up so you
Maybe
can.
he could go to sensitivity training again, like Hamlin, right?
Well, no, I kind of felt that he was done a little wrong last night.
I mean, don't fight the hand of the people that feed you. I'm his biggest fan, but man, I don't know. I'm just a huge Outlaws fan. That's all I can say.
Hey,
I know every series has its politics, but the Outlaws helped me get through the pandemic. That's all I'm going to say.
Hey, what was the first time you heard Kyle Larson's name?
Well, from you, and you know that. And I don't even, if I was in Kansas City right now, which is probably
you'd slap me
4.5 hours away, I'd come pat you on the back, Scott.
No, I'm just saying that was way back when.
It was you and Kirk. It was all you and Kirk. And then I followed the kid around and did one of his first interviews with him when he came to NASCAR to drive a truck at Michigan. And he had no filter then. He has no filter now. I think that's why the fans like him. But,
it was all Scott, not me. Scott's the one that was on Kyle Larson.
Well, I was living with him out on the road a little bit out in California. Hey, no, listen, you want to hear this? You want to hear what he said last night? We've got it queued up. You want to hear it?
Sure.
All right.
Cue it up, big dog.
Go ahead, Austin. Play it.
I am not a fender guy by any means, and I don't know if half the people in this pit area are, or the people in the stands, but my goodness, that was a show right there. I know you probably weren't happy with the beginning of the race, having get sit to the tail of the field, but that looked like a lot of fun for you.
Yeah, it would have been a lot easier if I didn't
Sorry
have to
that you can't hear that, Lee. Sorry.
I'm the only guy doing double duty here, so there's a lot of shit I got to get done.
Oh,
to get my
you can't hear that?
She can't hear it.
No, I couldn't hear it. Ground control to Major Tom.
Holy cow, what in the hell is going on
Well,
there?
it's a phone call. We don't have, our feed doesn't go back to
our
our phone.
feed doesn't go back into the phone.
Well, you hear us. Why wouldn't it? You ought to be able to hear that. I don't understand.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can't hear that.
Well, we'll paraphrase what he said.
Anyway, what he said was he just threw the World of Outlaws under the bus, and he said that's why Brandon Shepard's team decided not to race with that organization anymore and moved on. And he said the word shit in his interview last night. He was not happy.
But it's not as bad as you make it out to be. Still, Lasser, I'm glad we were able to put on a show. We'll try to do it again tomorrow night. That's the way he ended it. But, yeah, he was getting a little dig in about, this is the reason why, some of the other teams are leaving.
Listen,
He can't win them all. I mean, he put on a hell of a show.
He did.
From what I saw in the replay, coming from the rear of the field to second if he doesn't hit the wall.
Hey.
Because Superman hit a huge rut, and it was like he corrected, he got back going, but that cost him major time. And I mean, if he doesn't hit that rut, and Larson doesn't hit the wall, it might have been a whole different attitude in victory lane from what I, witnessed on video.
Well, let me just tell you, if anybody thinks that he was trying to be a nice guy when he was interviewed last night, they're out of their frickin' mind. He was. All you got to do, Lee, I'm going to have Austin send you the link so you can watch it. And you read his, I want you to read his body language and listen to what he says. And you tell me if that's maybe not the most ticked off you've ever seen Kyle Larson in your life. Because, he's a laid-back guy.
I mean, he's usually a lover, not a fighter, right?
Right.
I mean, he's pretty zen.
Yeah, well, Kevin Rumley, he wasn't very happy about it either. I mean, he gave some pretty good reasons why he wasn't happy, because there was some mix-up in communication between the World of Outlaws officials because they were parked in a different location than all the rest of the late models. They were parked near the sprint car, so they couldn't hear the horn, and they were told, you get the car backed out, and we'll push it into line, no problem. And then Casey Schumann came down and said, and this according to Kevin Rumley, that, okay, you missed your time frame. So that's what they were upset about. Kevin Rumley said that World of Outlaw officials were going to work with them last night, make sure they got up there in line. He felt that they were misled.
Kyle Larson said he has a lot of shit to do. That's what he said.
He's the only one. I'm the only one here running both events. And,
listen, Lee, here's what I said earlier in the show.
Well, I mean, I hate to say this. At the end of the day, and I didn't see, a ton of people in the stands, but I'm sure that, that there was a good amount of people that come to watch Kyle Larson, whatever he races, right?
Right.
I mean, let's face it, we're watching greatness. Oh, my gosh, there's a turkey running across the street in front of my car. Okay. Anyway, I just, I don't know. It's a very difficult situation because you don't want to tick off the show, but then again, he doesn't deserve special treatment either.
Right.
And I don't know the whole, I don't know all the story. But it's like we all benefit from having him in our show.
Exactly.
The fact that
I hope it hasn't gotten to the point where that's kind of gone to his head a little bit.
He is the draw.
Yeah.
Right.
He is. I mean, he absolutely is. I mean, have sanctioning bodies throughout the history of motorsports given, I won't say special favor, but I can tell you on the NASCAR side, baby Jesus Chase Elliott, you guys watched all the handouts he got en route to the championship. So I'm not saying that I'm not saying that there aren't favors that
here's what I said should have happened. Either Kyle Larson or the series, one or the other, needed to dedicate one person that could inform Kyle Larson, because his late model was with his sprint car. So he was pitted over with the sprint cars. And they couldn't hear the whistle, the horn. And so they didn't hear it. And that's where all the trouble started. But they could have fixed all of that by designating somebody to make sure they pay attention to what's going on with the sprint cars and the late models and keep them coordinated so they're not late.
And according to Kevin Rumley, they said they were assured that somebody was going to come down there. Don't worry about it. We'll get you. If you push the car out in line, we'll push you to the.
He never used the word assured. He was said that they were going to take care of us in that department. That's what he said.
That's what he said.
He never said assured. He said that they said that they were going to take care of him in that department, and they didn't. Yeah. So whose fault is it? Is it the tracks or is it Kyle Larson? Is Kyle Larson supposed to designate a person to make sure that everything goes smoothly, or is it the track's responsibility because he's the big star and the big draw? Should they be the ones to make sure that they communicate with Kyle Larson? What do you think, Lee?
I mean, that's a tough question, and on the Cup side, that's why these drivers all have handlers because most of them suffer from ADD. I mean, they're going in a million directions. They have a million responsibilities to deal with. And somebody of his level who is racing not only multiple series there, but multiple series in other places.
Yeah.
You know, I feel for the position that he's in because, you know, you and I both know that in NASCAR, somebody's, you know, got to be there to spoon feed these kids so they don't get where they're going. I mean, how many, you know,
They all have babysitters, right?
They all have babysitters. And I mean, unfortunately, at the level where he's racing, there's not the, you know, financial, I guess, kick back to the competitors, and that, you know, they have to be responsible for themselves. And, you know, it's unfortunate, but that's what it is. It's, you know, and I kind of put it on the crew chief. You know, the crew chiefs kind of need to coordinate. It's like, you know, a driver coming to pit road and the crew chief telling you, I will tell you when to leave. Do not leave on the jack on me. I mean, because, you know, at some point, and this probably because, you know, this is a live and learn situation. And my bet would be that this doesn't happen again because somebody will not make the same mistake twice. You know, what I have discovered over time is in motorsports, when the top teams make a mistake, you know, no matter at what level or what have you, they always seem to, they never make the same mistake twice. Mm-hmm. And that's the difference between why the top teams have such success and the lower teams don't, is because they learn from their mistakes and they carry on. And they don't do these things, you know, once they do it, they don't do it again. And so my guess is they move on from this.
That's the point I was trying to make a little bit earlier, is that it doesn't matter the fact that he's the big crowd draw and that he's the guy everybody comes to see. That shouldn't enter into the equation. He should not be treated any different than any other driver. And what I wanted to hear Kyle Larson say...
If he's running both,
right.
But if he's running both series, Kirk, you know, I'm not saying that they should have given him special whatever, but when he's your draw, when he's your ticket, when he's the guy putting butts in the seats, you have to be more aware of, you know, of the show.
Thank you, Lee.
The show. And I mean, this is not a knock against all the other, you know, rock stars in that series, but he is the show.
She agrees with me, Kirk.
And I'm the only one that disagrees with all of you. So, it shouldn't matter.
Okay,
that he's the big crowd draw. He should be treated like every other driver when he shows up to these events. And what I wanted to hear Kyle Larson say when he jumped out of the car, hey, I'm glad we put on a show for the fans, which he did say, it's not going to happen again.
Listen.
That's all I wanted to hear him say.
Kirk, the draw is Kyle Larson. The people in the grandstands, the majority of those people show up to watch Kyle Larson race, not everybody else. It's a fact.
When it comes to enforcing the rules, that should not matter. Period.
There should have been somebody communicating with them.
But that's not the World of Outlaws' responsibility. That's the people that are associated with Kyle Larson to make sure that they've got that all covered.
I think it's on the team to coordinate.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
He needs to, I mean, you know, he does deserve some special treatment because he is the drawer, but it's the team's responsibility to make sure their driver is where he needs to be when he needs to be there.
And the only special treatment is the fact that he was...
If you know that the driver's not going to be responsible enough to get from point A to point B, then it is up to the teams to make sure he gets where he needs to be.
Agree with that.
Hold on 1 second. 1 second. We haven't thought about one thing. Did the track pay him to come there?
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, that's out of...
Listen,
I don't know enough of the background on this.
Right. Because typically, when Kyle Larson, when Kyle Larson shows up, he gets a little kickback, right? How do we know that?
I mean, are you saying he gets tow money for showing up? I'm sure there's some sort of...
I'm not positive, but most drivers at his level get paid for showing up, don't they?
One would think. I mean, isn't that normally the case? I mean...
Right.
we've seen when these NASCAR stars are going places, it's like champions or, promoters provisional, right? They do give them a little bit of love when they're
still shouldn't matter. It still shouldn't matter the way, if he's treated like everybody else and should enforce the rules with everybody, whether he's paid to be there or not.
Austin, you want to chime in?
Yeah, so when you guys say there's treated like everybody else, I mean, everybody's under the same rules.
Right.
So we don't ever see anybody with the pull that Kyle Larson has run 2 classes. They don't have the opportunity to. So,
right.
Does Kyle Larson run the show? Is he making decisions with the World of Outlaws on when the program is ran, when the feature rolls out? No. So it's on the World of Outlaws to a point to either make the guy on the four-wheeler with the horn drive around the pits and let them know, or have an official
go over there and tell
them. Relay the message and be a little more open.
They know he's not pitted with the late models.
You can't stand on the backstretch at Bristol. I don't know how far it is. Lee, you probably could tell me, from the backstretch to the front stretch, and expect them to understand and hear what's going on. So it's a little bit on. It's both people that have to have a responsibility.
And that's a fair point that you bring up, Austin. And the fact that he was the only driver running 2 classes, yes, that should matter as well. But the rest of it, the fact that he's the big crowd draw, that shouldn't matter when it comes to enforcing the rules, in my opinion.
Well, the communication was the breakdown.
That's exactly it. And it doesn't matter if it's the guy who's running 24th that we don't know about doing double duty, or it's Kyle Larson or Scott. It doesn't matter who it is. You have to, I don't want to say include them and cater to them, but you have to keep them in the loop and know what's going on with the rest of the other drivers.
You have to know where all the cars are.
Yeah, I mean, trust me, when you running one car is difficult enough to know what's going on. Now you run 2 of them, and you have 2 different responsibilities. Yes, Kyle doesn't do everything on the car, but he still has a part and a role in both cars, and you're trying to pull the poor guy, 2 different ways and a lot of different responsibilities. Plus, they had a transmission issue, so
they just needed to work with him a little bit.
Give him an extra 3 minutes. What's that going to do? We got over at 10 o'clock our time.
Right. It was over early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you think, now let me ask all of you this question. Do you think this might have been, I'm just throwing it out there, okay? You think there might have been a purposeful thing here? Hey, this show is going to kind of stink up here if we don't make something happen here. Putting Kyle at the back is going to really create a lot something there's something going on there?
Who would have known how the track would have ran?
Absolutely.
You think that's the case?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you let him qualify where he wants to qualify, it's not going to be a contest. Am I right?
Right.
Well, he was the fastest car on the track.
He was going to run away with that thing if he was allowed to start on the outside front row.
But listen, but we shouldn't take that away from him just to put on a show. That's bullshit.
Oh no! But it happens, right? I mean, it happens in all the guys that fail going through inspection at NASCAR and go to start at the back of the field. Bill France, used to say when people would bitch about the slow cars, well, you have to have cars to pass to make a race. And I mean,
right.
I'm not saying it happened. I'm just saying, putting Kyle at the back's going to make this a great show.
You know what we're going to do? We're going to get Casey Schumann on this week on the show.
It's kind of, if you want to do that and put Kyle at the back, you just rob Kyle of $25,000.
Right.
$25,000. That's 5,000, 2,000, 1,000 to win local show. That's a $25,000 to win show on the biggest stage in dirt late model racing, or one of the biggest, not the biggest.
So you're taking it from him, basically. Is that what you're saying, Austin?
Well, I mean, if you
forced him to go to the back,
you took it from him,
and
that's altering the results of the race.
Let me repeat again. I'm not saying that happened, but it wasn't the worst thing in the world to happen as far as this show is concerned. It made everybody excited with watching him come from the back.
So
what
you're saying is that is totally a contrived act right there.
Well, I'm not saying it happened here, but it's happened like this before at other places, Kurt, has it not?
If you put somebody to the back of the A main and force them to run through the field just to put on a show, that's bull.
I agree with you.
Unless it's
it happened.
Unless it's like the front row challenge.
It's happened before.
I don't know, Lee. So let me just say this. Let's talk about the racing itself. All right. I'm not finding the racing at Bristol too exciting, to be honest with you. The speeds are so great.
You're what? I'm sorry. One more time.
The racing is not that good at Bristol right now. The speeds are so great.
I thought the Cup race was the best of the three short tracks. I'll say that for sure.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
The three short tracks NASCAR's Cup Series went to this spring, Bristol delivered the best show.
They did.
I agree with you because the speeds are so great with the sprint cars that they can't get up next to each other. They start down at the bottom. The first 3 laps were pretty good, but after that, who was it that was racing each other pretty hard? I think it was.
And the sprint car feature?
Yeah.
Aaron Reitzel and Logan Schuchart.
Schuchart. The first 3 laps, that was exciting, wasn't it? They were sliding each other, but then once they got up to speed and they spread out, that race was boring.
Yeah, once Aaron made his mistake, coming off 2 or 4, it was it.
It was it. It was over. Everybody went single file, went to the top, and just ripped the lip the entire race, and they were all spread out about 3 or 4 car lengths apart between each one of them. It wasn't a race. It was an exhibition of speed is all it was. Lee, what do you think of that?
I'm not sure how much longer this experiment will go on, but I'll enjoy Cup there as long as it goes.
Right. Well, they've already said they're going to do it again next year, right?
Yeah, but we don't know if the Outlaws are going to do this again, are they?
Well, I don't know. I would.
Well, whatever the big show that they had leading into it did not do well attendance-wise, but I mean, as long as you put the dirt down, you might as well try to make the most of it.
Sure. But, run as many races as you can.
Maybe. Did they keep? I mean, I don't know this because like I said, I was watching on my phone. But did they keep the progressive banking for World of Outlaws?
They did.
Yes.
And they asked the drivers about that, and a couple of them said, "I don't notice anything different at all from last year."
You know what's funny, Lee? They're averaging 138 miles an hour around that racetrack. Their average speed.
Wow.
That's up there. Did you get a chance to watch the All-Stars last night? Hunter Schoenberg picked up the win. Did you see what he said after the race about Sammy Swindell?
No, we didn't get home till 11:30.
So Sammy was driving the blue number 70 car, and he was a lap car, and when the leaders got to him, he raced them like he was racing for the lead. And after the race was over, Hunter Schoenberg said that when I went by Sammy, I wish I could have reached out and slapped him. It was good.
We had some great...
I mean, Sammy's always raced every lap like that, hasn't
he? That's what I love about Sammy. He could care less about you as a racer.
It's all. I mean, it's like he races like every lap is the last. I mean, I think that's why he's been such a draw for so long.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this
question. The only thing that's probably more impressive is Red Farmer, racing across the street from Talladega last weekend.
Was that a good race?
I don't know. Briscoe won. I mean, so I'm sure it made the fans happy to see a NASCAR star out there, mixing it up on dirt.
Yeah. What'd you think of the race at Talladega? You're a NASCAR beat writer. Maybe we should talk a little NASCAR.
I'm still trying to figure out what Dover's going to be like, but I thought Talladega was entertaining, but that's just it's always on the edge of your feet. But I think it could be a shorter race, and the reason I say that is because damn well in that final stage they're going to run around until the final pit stop, which is what they did.
Yep. How would you grade out the new car? And now that we've seen Daytona and Talladega, how would you grade out the new car on the super speedways?
I mean, I thought it was pretty sporty. I thought that's the best Atlanta race we ever saw, and Atlanta is almost a hybrid of Daytona and Daytona, Talladega, and an intermediate track. But the one thing that I did hear a lot on the radio last Sunday that you normally Well, I say you normally, but what you usually don't hear there, we've always been, told by the drivers from at least day one since I've been, going to Daytona. Daytona's a handling track, and a lot more so than Talladega. And the one thing I heard on the radio was basically, I need my car to handle. And so, it kind of defied what, you've been told, because the cars weren't handling the way that they need. Most of the cars weren't handling the way they needed to. I mean, if you want to flip back to Larson for a second, Larson took out his former teammate.
Right.
Then you have the whole debacle with Denny Hamlin, which, if he wasn't going for the cheap lap and just sent that mem to Larson, it would, he wouldn't have had to go to sensitivity training this week.
Right.
But I think the biggest takeaway from the week that was basically Hamlin not realizing who pays his checks from an ownership standpoint and from a driver standpoint. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I get all the time about this whole woke society thing, but on the other side of that, when Toyota is your sponsor, pays the bills for your personal cup team, and then, also pretty much, handles the finances for Joe Gibbs Racing in addition to the sponsors, but, puts a lot more money into Joe Gibbs Racing than the sponsors does, then I think you need to be a little more mindful of your actions.
How many people do you think were pulling for the 43 car of Eric Jones?
Oh my gosh! I think I felt so sorry for that kid because, and I really, knowing that he can win at a place like Darlington, which is one of the toughest tracks. I mean, it takes a special kind of racer to win at Darlington. You think about Pearson and how good Pearson was at that racetrack, but anybody who grew up a Petty fan, and I know that there are legions of Petty fans out there. People were on their seats just trying to get him where he needed to be in those last laps. And I mean, He was up to, less than a straightaway. I mean, it's just, my heart broke for the kid.
Yeah, me too.
I think Eric Jones is going to win a race in that car someday.
Oh, no.
I think so.
He's going to win a couple maybe this year. I wouldn't be surprised if he wins 2 races this year.
I'll be happy if he wins just one.
I'm telling you, man, that kid's a shoe.
Oh, and he's in such a better position now with GMS. The kind of money that Maury Gallagher is putting into that deal compared to what he had to deal with before with the Petties, which, pretty much that was a play toy for its former owner.
Hey, let me ask you, Lee, how much difference do you think? Because they were like a $7 to $8 million deal a year, right, with Petty Motorsports. How much?
Are you guys watching practice, by the way?
No, we're not watching it this second.
You watching Cup practice?
No, we're not.
Seen a couple of cars have already spun.
Destroyed his car. Baby Jesus is going to the back of the field.
Oh, no kidding.
Oh, it's destroyed. Oh, I'm sorry. It's William Byron. My bad.
Number 24 car.
Yeah, 24 car.
Yeah, practice. A couple of other spins on the Monster Mile. We see the 77 and the 38 car also spun around earlier.
Oh, yeah, that car's junk.
That thing's done.
William Byron's 24 car.
I think that's weird how they pick the cars up by the wheels.
Well, they were showing the 9 hauler, and maybe they're taking the backup car out of the 9 for the 24. That's what's confusing.
Thank God they can put clips on these cars.
Put a new wrap on it, yeah. They're limited on how many spare cars they can bring, right? I mean, that's the truth. Not everybody has a spare car.
Here's the other thing, Scott. They don't have multiple backup cars.
Right.
Usually this time of year, Hendrick would probably have 15 cars in reserve, and they don't.
How many cars do you think the average on the bigger teams? What do you think the amount of cars the average team has? Like a Hendrick Motorsports, how many cars do you think they have done? 3
per team would be about my guess.
Wow, That's crazy.
Because last time we were talking to them, people were saying they had 3, not all the parts and pieces for 3. So my guess is there's probably 3 by now.
Wow, unbelievable.
But that 24 car is destroyed.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you destroy a car in practice, that is a big deal.
Yeah, for
right
sure.
now.
It's a huge deal, and they're going to have to take parts and pieces off the other backup cars. So this is going to be really interesting. So you were back to Talladega. Go ahead. I'm so sorry.
I've told
breaking.
I just totally lost my train of thought, so it doesn't really matter.
Ross Chastain, he's the big story right now, right? I mean, he's done it on the road course at Circuit of Americas, and now he's done it on the big super speedway. He's been running up front at every other kind of racetrack. Is Ross Chastain championship level now?
I want to know what the prop bet would have been for Chastain, at the start of the season. What's the prop bet for Ross Chastain, not just winning a race, but winning 2 races? I think we all could have bought new houses.
Right. There's no doubt nobody thought that was going to happen.
For the new Trackhouse Racing team to do all that. That's pretty remarkable.
Well, I just think the philosophy that Justin Marks has over there, it has just revigorated that place. I can't imagine, and I'm sure that the people who worked for Chip Ganassi thought he was a great guy because he paid them every week. But on the other side of that, it's like the kind of culture that they have in that building now compared to what they had before is like night and day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's.
I just wonder how long they're going to be in that building, because my sources tell me that if Dale Earnhardt Jr. decides he's going to go Cup racing, then that will be their Cup. That's where their Cup teams will be housed.
Now, where are they at? Are they over there in the old DEI building?
They're in the old Ganassi building in Concord.
Oh,
by the Concord Airport.
Yeah. I know where that's at. So, what happened to
not far from the NASCAR R&D Center?
What happened to old DEI? What happened to that building?
It's a museum, just like Tony Stewart predicted. It's a museum. They hold special events there. I think that's where they head up the equestrian division of DEI.
Oh, really?
Which Taylor Earnhardt, I don't know what her married name is, but that's, she was president of the equestrian division. But my guess, I think right now it's like a museum and a place where they hold special events.
Yeah.
I think my son's prom was there, or one of the, had some party there when he was in high school.
Well,
and the 21 goes around.
I haven't been by there since 2000, whatever, back when I had my ARCA team.
Hey, what'd you think of Jeffrey Earnhardt last Saturday? Was that was exciting to watch him? Was
special.
Yeah,
that was good. Do you think there's ever a chance?
The whole deal.
Do you ever think there's a chance that he'll run full time?
If he comes up with the money, I mean, it's that the 2 lower series, trucks and Xfinity. It's very seldom does somebody get a ride based on sheer talent alone.
Yeah.
John Hunter Nemechek is one of the few, right? He's somebody that they're taking care of. I mean, Cindric. Because Ford really believed in him, brought him up. Bell, same deal. Larson, same deal. And one of the coolest things right now that I'm seeing is because of the promise that these cars will inevitably be more cost effective down the road, these owners are going and hiring, like we said, Eric Jones, right? Eric Jones brings absolutely no money to the table. He was a Toyota racing development guy.
Right.
And Toyota invested in him, like they did in Bell, like they did in Larson initially before Larson, went to Chevrolet. But they, what we're seeing in Cup is a Ross Chastain who had raw talent is getting a chance, right?
Yeah.
He's not bringing money over there. And that's one of those deals where Justin Marks had to convince Ross his job security was there. He had to convince him that no one was coming behind him to take his ride. He didn't have to drive every lap, balls to the wall, like it was a qualifying lap in order to retain his job the next week. And once Ross was able to buy into that philosophy, it changed the dynamic of his driving style. And we're seeing the results. But, so you're seeing guys like Ross getting an opportunity, a guy like Eric Jones getting an opportunity. Not necessarily would these doors have been open for these guys in the past. Spire with Corey LaJoy. Corey doesn't bring any money to that deal. I mean, you almost wish that their equipment was a little bit better, so he had an opportunity to, be able to show what he's capable of doing.
Well, as you know, Spire's in the business to make money. That's what they're about. Hello?
No, sorry. Reed just got up, and I didn't want him to change the channels from...
Looks like Tyler Reddick hit the wall. Did he?
That's Harrison Burton.
I missed that. That might have been before I got there. But anyway, Tyler Reddick is another one. Does not bring... his grandfather paid his way the last couple of years, which was... not cup level, but, to get him to this point. Because I always used to get on Tyler and, hey, man, when are you going to come back to dirt? We'd love to see you in dirt. It would be great for you to get back to your roots. And it wasn't until this year that he actually got to do a little dirt racing because, he's actually he's there based on his talent, not on Grandpa writing the check anymore. So he had that opportunity. And his day's coming. He's one of those guys that's going to have a breakout. And, he's not in the best equipment, but he's in good equipment, right? Austin Cinders had a good couple of weeks behind him. He's had his issues, but, I mean, their equipment now is better than it was. I think the one thing the next-gen car has done is equalize the field a bit, and so we are seeing some of that.
Mm-hmm.
So from that standpoint, I think that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked like Reddick smacked the wall pretty hard there up in turns 3 and 4. So I don't know if they've got the car out on pit road right now. We'll see.
That's
what
Harrison Burton,
that.
the 21 car.
Well, no, the Tyler Reddick hit the wall pretty hard.
No,
too.
his car was
he
clean.
did. I thought the number 8 car hit the wall.
Kirk's up on the chip today. Don't jack with Kirk today.
No.
Did you see that car hit the wall?
Yes, I watched Harrison Burton spin out. The 8 car sat on pit road the entire time.
Yeah.
But the 8 car Tyler Reddick smacked the wall in turns 3 and 4. I just witnessed it. Okay.
Recently?
Yes.
Did you see that, Lee?
He spun around. The 8 car spun.
I saw Burton spin. I didn't see Tyler Reddick. Yeah. That must have been when.
Kirk, I don't think you're right.
I saw I've got the highlight right there. There he is. 8 car.
Did he hit the wall?
Yes, he did.
Oh gosh. Kirk is on the
chip. I'm not seeing that on my feed for some reason.
Kirk's on the chip today.
I see it on a replay on Twitter.
He's just I think he's on his period today.
I'm just telling you, the 8 car hit the wall.
I think he needs a tampon.
There it is. Look at that.
Wow.
There's the video right there, Scott. Look at it.
I can be mean sometimes.
Are you watching the FS1 feed, or are you watching the feed on the NASCAR Media channel?
I'm watching a Twitter replay of Tyler Reddick hitting the wall, the number 8 car spinning around.
Sorry, I just have FS1 on.
All right.
Okay.
But he's
I don't have the whole Race Central set up yet. I just got home.
He's been this way since he showed up this morning. He's been on edge all
Trust me on
frickin'
this.
morning.
Tyler Reddick hit the
How
wall.
much coffee you had, Kirk?
Do you drink coffee, Kirk?
I have had no coffee. I don't drink
I've
coffee.
drank a bottle and a half of energy drink, and I'm not even wound up as much as you.
I've not drank any of it.
Some days.
So what do you start your breakfast with?
What do you eat for breakfast, Kurt?
Cereal, Wheaties cereal.
That's colon blow.
So this is all Wheaties. You're all jacked up on Wheaties. Is that what you're telling me? Because, we'll have to get your face on the box.
You know what? You know what Wheaties does to me?
What?
Gives me the shits. You know that?
Oh, my God.
I don't want to hear
jump
that.
the shark, people.
I don't want to hear it.
It's like colon blow for me.
Have you had orange juice or Diet Coke or anything that has caffeine, Kirk?
Nothing this morning. Not a thing.
Wow. I'm glad you must have had a great night's sleep.
I did.
You're fired. I don't normally get you this fired up.
I know it.
I'm happy that you're in your happy place.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Lee, what do you got coming up on Race of Boys?
The world needs to watch out today because Kirk Elliott is bringing it.
He might road rage on the way home today.
God, I hope not.
Oh, I kind of doubt that.
You never know. He's on the chip today. Lee, what do you got coming up on Racing Boys for us?
Well, now that I finally found where the audio was for the interview that we did with Chase Briscoe last week, I was going to work on something like that because he had some good thoughts on Dover, and I was glancing through the news, the headlines, and there was something about Cindric talking smack on Briscoe, which I know it was one of those got you headlines, and I didn't even click on it because those two are friends and they've been friends. I mean, I went to do an interview, I guess last time I was in Tulsa at Chili Bowl, and went up into Briscoe's trailer, and I saw Cindric sitting on the floor. I'm like, what the hell are you doing here? And I mean, they're close friends, but I just think that Briscoe is driven. He also falls into that category of, guys that are there based on talent and not on the check that their dad could write. Because you know Kevin Briscoe. Kevin Briscoe couldn't write a check for this to put his son in a car. He's a hardworking guy, and he's had a good career. But it's like, it takes stupid money to drive for Stewart Haas Racing, and right now the only buy right over there is Almirola with the Smithfield sponsorship. And so it's I just really think that he's taking full advantage of the situation and kind of leading the charge over at Stewart Haas Racing. I mean, at some point, Kevin Harvick's, the light will go on for him too. And I mean, I'm not saying he's out of it, and I'm not saying he's lost anything, and I really get a kick out of the talking head saying, oh, Kevin Harvick just isn't the driver he used to be. Oh, yeah, he's like DW hanging on too long. And I'm like, come on, people. It's Kevin Harvick. You just give him the right equipment and the guy will be able to go.
He'll be okay.
I think if I'm looking at, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'm more worried about Keselowski and Hamlin just because Hamlin, keeps stepping on his winky. And, I don't know. I on the other side of that spectrum, I want to see a little more out of Bell. I mean, I think Bell's right on the verge of being spectacular.
Yeah, he looks good at moments.
I don't even see.
Bell has flashes, but he needs to put it all together.
He does. He really does. And I mean, he's running 2 positions ahead of Larson, but he didn't do extracurricular racing this week because it was Morgan's birthday. So.
Yeah. All right, Lee. Well, we appreciate you taking the time. We'll talk to you on Monday about Dover, and we'll see what goes on there. Austin said Kirk's all jacked up on Mountain Dew.
I haven't drank any Mountain Dew.
Is that what it is?
I don't know. He said he hadn't drank any. So that's
Kirk don't drink
Nothing.
Mountain Dew.
No, he
What's
wouldn't.
your drink of choice, Kirk?
What is your drink of choice, Kirk?
He's
water.
He's a water guy. I've
and
always
iced
seen
tea. I like iced tea.
Yeah. Iced tea will get you wound up. Got a little caffeine in it.
But I haven't drank any of it this morning.
All right, so no excuses for Kirk. All right, Lee, thanks so much. We'll talk to you Monday.
Hey, something to keep an eye on. It's like, you know, Reed wakes up, the first thing he said, track's not taking rubber, and I think that might be why these guys are wiping out, because
it's not
this
not laying it down.
Tire compound, it's like freaking powder. You know, in the track, I mean, Bristol, for as much as they have, or Dover, sorry, as much as they have run on this track so far this morning, usually it is pitch black in the corners and, you know, 2 or 3 groups, and we're just not seeing that.
So
and this is just bizarre to me.
We've had the
70s. It looks like a clean freaking track.
Yeah. We've had the 77, the 38, the 24, the 21 of Harrison Burton, and the 8 of Tyler Reddick all have troubles here, it looks like.
Well, we could do a whole show on how I don't think Harrison Burton should be in the Cup Series, but my time is up here.
There's a few of those guys that don't need to be in the Cup Series.
Oh, he didn't even win a damn race last year. You know, his father's so hard-pressed on getting him into the Cup Series that, you know, they should have given the kid time to get acclimated to the Xfinity Series and win some races. And it's like, you know, you're just desire to live vicariously through your kids and push them to a level they're not prepared for. Then you have to undo all the damage. And he's a good kid. He's a nice kid, sweet kid, polite. But, you know, he's 21 years old. He's got plenty of time. He doesn't have to be in Cup today. Look how long it took William Byron. William Byron's got talent. William Byron won an Xfinity championship. Harrison Burton never even sniffed one. And look how long it's taken. I mean, it took 4 years for Byron to get to the point where he was winning multiple races.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Sometimes, like you say, they live through their son, but maybe he's just wanting his son to make some money before his career is over. Because
sure they do. That way they get off the tit. I mean, I'm all about that.
Right.
But it's, you know, on the other side of that, you can do damage to these kids emotionally.
I agree.
You know, by pushing them too soon. There's nothing wrong with the Wood Brothers equipment. I guarantee you, if those cars are the same cars Blaney's driving, Logano's driving, Cindric is driving,
and they all ran good in it.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that equipment. The kid's not ready for prime time.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, Lee. Well, we'll talk to you on Monday. All right, we'll see you then.
Can't wait. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Lee.
There you have it, Lee Spencer, the very best in the business. Let's do it real quick here, Austin. Let's get it over with. I did an interview with Kenny Brown earlier this week. We talked about the cancellation of this weekend's events. This is the conversation I had with Kenny Brown. I know that you've had communication with Hoosier. How desperate are we in this tire situation? Because, you know, we're hearing that the World of Outlaws, they were limited to 1 tire apiece per team when they were going to go to Tri-City, and when they were going to go to, where was the other track they were going to go to? Hobstadt. They were only going to be limited to 1 tire. What are you hearing from Hoosier, and how desperate is this going to end up being?
Well, they're working on the issue. You know, a lot of it has to do with the synthetics and then labor. And I think they've got synthetics, and starting in May, they're going to crank everything up. But, you know, by the 1st of May, they should have everything. And then by the end of May, they should be okay. So, you know, is there a shortage? Yes, there is right now. They just don't have enough. And I'm getting a third of the tires I normally get as a distributor. And, you know, like this weekend, we had 20 right rears. Is that enough? Probably not. But it's enough if teams don't gourd them. I do think we'll be in a struggle till we see the 1st of June, which gives us all of May. They'll start producing May 15th. They've got the assembly going then.
I'm just going to throw this question out there and ask you about it, because there is a China tire that people are kind of trying to push to make a universal sprint car tire. Are you in favor of something like that?
You know, I'm always in favor of change of any kind. However, the problem you got is, you know, it's just like, well, can we go get American Racers? Well, American Racers is probably in just as bad a shape, if not worse, than Hoosier.
Yeah.
The stuff coming over from China, no, I don't know much about it. I do see it. I'm not, you know, there's got to be a lot of testing that goes in tires, you know. Take a look at the Outlaws at Bristol. Can you imagine a tire blowing on them at 140 mile an hour?
Yeah.
So there's still a lot of, you know, I've got a conference call on our quarter midget tires. They want to switch from Hoosier to Vega. The problem is now you open up things and people are on different stuff. The first guy that wins with a China tire, they'll all go run and try and buy those tires, and
right.
they you know, they say they got them, and then once you get in the door, they don't have them.
Right.
So, I think though we could always, you know, no one likes what we're seeing with the cost increase with tires. That's just not good.
Yeah.
But it's not just tires.
So you're finding it just as hard with your weekly cars too, your stock cars and the stuff that you run down at the lake. They run American Racers, I take it. You're finding out it's going to be difficult for those people to get tires as well.
Yeah, I think so. Now the good thing is the B mods are on the American Racers. The other ones we do run Hoosiers, like on our super stocks, but we also allow takeoffs with asphalt tires, and then they groove them and sipe them, and they're, you know, $50 to $80, but they're just a hard tire that they got to go do some manual labor to.
Yeah.
But right now, you know, you might as well.
Yeah. Kenny, how difficult is it going to be? I think about it when we get into the heat of the summer. Now, you say that we should have enough tires by June, but if for some reason we don't have tires and we get into the month of July and August, and that's when we really start burning up tires, right? When the heat of the summer, this could turn into a real problem. And do you think we're at the point to where promoters are starting to worry about their events? Because, you know, I think that I know enough to know that the promoters typically make most of their money at the start of the year and at the end of the year. And during the summer months, the crowd kind of dwindles down a little bit because it's so hot outside. Are you concerned as a track owner about this tire situation, what it could mean for you and your racetrack?
Yeah, I mean, especially for the traveling series. Like, we still have the All-Stars coming in. You know, we've got the MLRA late models, the Lucas late models coming in next weekend.
Yeah.
I think we're good there. I think sprint tires and midget tires are going to be the biggest challenge. And, you know, the good thing is a local track, my big shows like the Outlaws, the ASCS, the 410 Wings, all that, you know, we pop them in about every 4 to 5 weeks. But it's really our local racing. If we can't make it off the local racing, you know, you can't hope that you have a big weekend and make it off the Outlaws or make it off one. The local racing is more important. Do I see it being a problem? Yeah, I do. I can see.
Yeah.
I'm already canceling a midget show next week because we're short of tires. In other words, I have 4 races coming up before the next, and so I'm kind of picking and choosing where I think tires will be or what we can do.
All right, that's Kenny Brown. That was episode 78. If you'd like to listen to that interview in its entirety, all these interviews are cut a little short. These are just segments of those interviews. Most of our interviews last 20, 25 minutes. So if you want to hear them in their entirety, go to wherever you get your favorite podcast. We were just told as well, Grays Harbor Raceway is rained out. Todd put that up there. So Grays Harbor rained out tonight.
And we'll find out about some of these other races. We'll try to keep everybody up to date on what's happening on our social pages, some of these events that are scheduled for today. Some we know are off, some we know are
Where are you going to tell them
tonight.
that, Kurt?
We'll try to post up on Facebook or
Okay.
Twitter.
That's
Let
perfect.
people know what's going on.
All right. Well, thanks, everybody, for tuning in. That was an extra long track talk today, an extra 30 minutes for you. So we appreciate everybody that stayed with us. We'll do it all over on Monday, mostly motorsports. Again, it's all brought to you. Track Talk, mostly motorsports by Lucas Oil Products. It works. So tune in on Monday. We'll have Lee Spencer on. We'll talk about what happened at Dover. Austin and I will talk about everything that's dirt track racing, sprint car related. And that's all on Monday, 12 noon Central Time. You can watch it right here where you're watching us right now. So for Todd Surprise, for Austin O'Neill, for my brother, Kirk Elliott, I'm Scott Traylor saying thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on Monday, 12 noon Central Time.